Test, test, test. Cool. That's working. You're working. Everyone's working.
Cool.
Connecting. Sending data. Twitch is live. Ding, ding. I like hearing that. We already have a guy on Periscope joining us. Hooray. That was fast.
That was fast.
Yeah, probably bot. Unless he says something. Let's see here. Adult friendships are basically telling each other we should hang out soon over and over again until you're both dead. Well then, happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. And to promote WXW a bit, let's get that front page up. And I'll get Stardom up there as well. Who cares? Boom. Stardom's been killing it lately.
So I've heard.
Yeah, quite excited.
Good stuff.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, just let me know when to hit record and we're ready to go.
3, 2, 1, go. Welcome. It's episode 12 of the Red Leaf Retrocast, Wrestlecast edition. Rad Zero, my boy, is back for episode 12. How you doing, my buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good, JD. Thanks for having me. What's going on, everybody?
As I take a sip of my water because I'm slightly dehydrated, I just got back from bowling no more than 15 minutes ago. We're set, we're live, we're recording the Wrestlecast. I'm excited for a weekend of wrestling, but we're here to talk about what has happened, not what will happen. Maybe we'll get there eventually. But the agenda for us today is a little bit of intro, and if you're looking at us from the live stream, welcome as usual. We got a wrestler spotlight over Dave Fit Finley, aka the Belfast Bruiser. Then we're going into Tier 3. Got some Japanese Puro wrestling to go over. A little Impact update. We already recorded WXW, so if you're listening to the live stream, you're just going to have to tune in to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or many other podcasting outlets to listen to that little section there. We're talking all in, since it's been a couple weekends, and we can really take it all in and get a good opinion. New Japan and Ring of Honor are off to a good start, getting ready for their next big pay-per-views, Road to Destruction and whatever Ring of Honor's doing these days. I think it's I think they're getting ready for Final Battle or whatever it is. The next pay-per-view.
Yeah, the build usually starts around this time.
Yeah. WWE, not much to say, lots of filler. Hell in a Cell's around the corner. And then we're finishing off with WCW Super Brawl 1998. Yes. It was so enjoyable that we're not talking a Thunder episode. We're going only that. So, Rad, I got some introduction topics for us to discuss before we get into our spotlight that we normally do. I've been contemplating this for weeks, I tell you. It's obviously going to be the best episode ever. Dave Schiavone told me. Tony Schiavone, Dave Schiavone. I got names mixing up in my head. Tony Schiavone said this is going to be the best episode of the Wrestlecast ever. Naturally.
Of all time.
I got my Sanity shirt on, Becky Lynch goggles over my face.
I like your style.
Yeah. Someone's got to represent Sanity, and we all have to hope for Becky Lynch, because I think she's not winning that title, because it's WWE.
Yeah. I guess we'll discuss when we get there, yeah.
We'll get there. First topic, Defiant, Stacked 2018. That happened last month, but, and I wasn't going to watch it, because it's Defiant. I did speak about that on an episode prior. Defiant just doesn't grab me as much as it used to, but they did have a good match, and it went free on YouTube today, so I figured I'd give it a try. Walter versus Ospreay for the TV title. Good stuff, actually. Good stuff. Surprising how well these two... Yeah, Walter's my guy. I mean, little Twitter poll went out. I tagged you in it. If you were to start a promotion with 5 guys, specifically different eras, that was the objective there. You did not do that, Rad. I saw your reply.
Actually, I saw the original tweet, and it said from any era. I just think that the guy that you quoted kind of changed the rules a bit, but
I like that better. I like the different era one, because then it makes you pick and choose more carefully.
Right.
But yeah, Walter was on my list for now, because he is hot as hell, and I am surprised how well Ospreay and Walter work together in this match. Ospreay selling the shit out of everything because he's working with a big dude, something he doesn't get to do very much in even in the UK or Japan. So this was
right. Yeah, he'll usually stay limited to his weight class, so to speak.
Yeah, and the UK is kind of in his weight class. That's what that kind of European wrestling is right now. At least that scene. Over in Germany, the guys are generally much bigger. Just the type of people that are there, and Walter fits the bill, that's for sure, of a big dude. And Ospreay almost fucked himself on a flip to the outside, short jumping it. Luckily, Walter caught him before he cracked his neck again. You know that match months ago with Marty Scurll, that Spanish fly on the apron. He almost like cracked it that bad, but Walter caught him right before he hit the apron.
Oh, what a save.
Oh, yeah, it was a big save. It was immediately noticeable. Like, Walter goes, oh, shit, and, like, goes into him and catches him.
Oh, man.
The match ended up going 22.5 minutes, which was incredible to see, considering I haven't seen Walter go over 14 minutes in quite some time, it seems. At least since the start of summer. So that was real nice to see. Fantastic ending sequence. Both exchanged chops. It was a good mix of the European style and that strong style that we've grown accustomed to seeing in these days.
Sure.
So it's free on YouTube. Definitely go seek it out. I just wanted to get my word in there. That was a little topic. How do you think the match would have gone down if you could picture it in your head, Rad?
I'm guessing maybe a lot of selling. Obviously, I picture the underdog, I guess, coming out on top, but not until the end. I'm assuming this is how this match went down. Obviously, I didn't see it, so
you think Ospreay won?
I'm guessing Ospreay won.
Ooh, you would be mistaken then.
How did it go down?
So it was a little good ending sequence. Throughout the match, Walter would get a couple good shots in every time Ospreay resiliently tried to make a comeback with his kicks and flips. And then Walter would put him down, chop him for a little bit, do some... Not a lot of limb work here by Ospreay. That's kind of expected as well with his style. And I've noticed a certain thing when Walter's being booked. If you don't limb work him, he's not losing. So the power's overcoming, and that was a theme. That was a theme in this match, where every time Ospreay tried to come back, because he wasn't doing any limb work, Walter would stop him in his tracks, and that's what ended up happening in this last sequence. Ospreay got one more good high energy, high octane sequence in, and then Walter just put him down, sleeper hold. The arm goes down 3 times. We're done here. Good stuff. Very good.
Awesome. Obviously, you would know the formula, so yeah, I bet you definitely predicted this one.
Well, it all depends if Ospreay was going to work the limbs, and I kind of Defiant has a habit of booking the same way as like Progress or RPW with a lot of their talent one-on-ones, and with the way Walter's being booked over there, it looks like Defiant's well on their way to booking Walter the same way Progress did when Walter had their kind of second tier title, not their main heavyweight title. It looks like they're going the exact same route. Regardless of like how I see the booking, the match was quite good. It's definitely worth seeking out. It's free on Defiant's YouTube page. Real quick comment here. I haven't been able to watch Shine 53 and Progress Chapter 75 yet. Just want to get that out of the way. The Mae Young Classic is off to a okay start. We're 2 days into the first round. Have you caught any of the Mae Young Classic so far, Rad?
No, actually I haven't. I was going to wait till maybe week 3 just to kind of catch up on that.
So next Wednesday.
So either way, though, I don't mind spoilers at all. I've been keeping up with some of the results, not completely.
All right, well, I mean, it's almost exactly what you would expect. The only exception is I thought Madison Rain, aka going by Ashley Rain here. She was going to go over Mercedes Martinez because I thought, new face, get her over. That wasn't the case. Mercedes Martinez went in. I've noticed a lot of these matches are only going 5 minutes or less. I don't remember if that was the case in the first Mae Young Classic. It might have been. It very well could have been. But in this case, there's a lot. I feel like there's better talent in the second round, Red, and they're just not given enough time.
Oh man, well that's a shame. I guess the general idea, at least coming from the first one, was that this was a chance for them to showcase what they were all about, in front of casual, a more open audience, so this way people are more introduced to these, women's wrestlers from around the world. And it's a shame that they're not, I guess, given that opportunity this time around. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't had the opportunity to watch any of these matches, but I wish it would have gone down differently. Yeah,
I do as well, especially with I mean, there's a couple matches. WWE is they like getting their talent in there. I mean, it's fair to do that. They have their talent in there, but they have these people such as Casey Cantazzaro and I guess Ariel Monroe. That's the only other name that comes to mind. There's a couple others where they only have like a year or less experience in the ring. Ronda Rousey territory. And they're expected to go 5 minutes plus. In this case, they didn't really make it 5 minutes. It's relying on the other wrestler in the ring to make up what they don't know yet. And it's very obvious to me. I don't know. I don't remember much from the first Mae Young Classic, especially the first round. For all I know, it could have been the exact same thing. All I remember from the first round of the Mae Young Classic last year was it was a lot of green talent.
Sure.
And in this case, there's not a lot of green talent available, but it seems they went that route anyways. And these 5 minute matches just aren't cutting it. Like the Casey Cantazzaro against Reina Gonzalez. Reina Gonzalez is 6 foot, 200 pounds. Casey Cantazzaro is 5 foot, 100 pounds. And for a match to go, like, don't get me wrong, Casey Cantazzaro coming off like 18 years of gymnastics and the Ninja Warrior, like, oh my god, that screams publicity, PR, WWE 101, get her over. And yeah, that happened, but the whole match was just Reina throwing her around for 5 minutes and Casey Cantazzaro doing a couple gymnastics moves. Fair enough. It's just, to me, it's not very entertaining. It's not a good wrestling match. There was one match that stood out, and that was Killer Kelly against Meiko Satomura. That went over,
obviously.
That went over 7 minutes, and that's been the standout match, and it's not even close.
And who would you say, I guess, was the carrier of the match in this one?
Oh, it was Meiko Satomura, like, easily.
Okay.
Yeah, Killer Kelly's still a bit green, but coming into the tournament, at least what we've seen so far, and her one of the veterans, just doesn't seem right.
Right.
Especially her just having a couple years. I mean, I've seen her in WXW countless times, and you can definitely see where she's still green in the ring. But Meiko Satomura is so goddamn good, and with 20 years experience under her belt at this point, like, it speaks for itself. 5-star Grand Prix and Stardom still going on. We're nearing the end. I think we're about 10 days away. They still got about three nights ahead, and I got to tell you, this has been quite something to watch. Not every match is a home run, to be expected. They got to kind of time certain things out. However, one name standing out in this, and that's Jungle Kiona. She's kind of got the wild girl, badass type persona going over there in Stardom.
Right.
Good God, she's put in the work. Now, I just said Mae Young Classic, most matches are 5 minutes or less. Jungle Kiona's putting in 13 to 15 minutes per match.
Whoa, interesting, man.
Yeah, it's like night and day in the styles, in the time and the work put in. Like, you want to watch some good goddamn women's wrestling going on right now? That's the place. It's like a tiny little pool of great women's wrestling. pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even some of today's greatest wrestlers are female talent from around the world. Are coming from there. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, when that poll went out, like starting a promotion 5 from any era, who would you pick? And it's like, well, shit, most of them are Japanese, to be honest, at least in my book, because they're so
granted,
good.
Excellent performers.
They're just so good to watch. Like,
again, I based my list off of nostalgia, as always.
Right,
I get a lot of flack for that on social media, but yeah, I could tell how you chose those, and I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely based on performance, and granted, rightfully deserved.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what makes a wrestling promotion is the wrestlers. It's entertainment second, because then if you're entertaining on the mic, we can, I think you can teach someone that rather than their natural ability in the ring and try to get them to go over that way. The mic seems to be always extra to what makes a wrestler. You feel me, Red?
Of course.
Yeah. Especially in today's world where 90% of the people have almost zero mic skills, so it hardly matters anyways. Oh, Kitty, get off the mic. Come on. Oh boy, he's off. All right. Well, any thoughts over women's wrestling, Rad, that you've noticed lately? I mean, you missed the last episode where it was only women's wrestling.
Unfortunately, yeah. I'll definitely have to check back on that to see what I missed. But other than that, no, I completely agree with the topics you touched base on. As of right now, you already know who I would like to discuss once we hit to the WWE part of this podcast. So I'm going to wait for that. Other than that, that's pretty much the only thing I want to discuss as far as women's wrestling is concerned.
Well, alrighty. Well, I'm going to play this fantastic drop, and we'll get into our wrestler spotlight.
You bet.
Okay. So today we're discussing Dave Fit Finlay, aka the Belfast Bruiser. Now, Rad, ask me why I chose this guy to be our spotlight.
Why did you choose this guy?
Well, partly it's because he's been showing up on WCW Thunder lately, as we've been covering it for the cast.
Sure.
And second, he was an integral part of the women's revolution in training, in what you would call the golden age for WWE.
Absolutely. Ruthless aggression. And
I really feel he's looked over for his contributions.
Yeah, he seems to be forgotten as far as that aspect is concerned. So I'm definitely glad you're bringing that up.
Yeah. So a little background over him. He was a journey indie man up until WCW picked him up in the mid to late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And journeyman in Europe, I mean, it's not the indie scene that it is today, where promotions are consistent and they're not essentially traveling carnivals anymore. So kind of rough. So WCW picked him up, and he seemed to have pretty good runs. I mean, he was jobbed out to Goldberg on the most recent episode of Thunder that we've covered.
Oh yeah.
But before and after that, he had some good rivalries with other British talents, other European talents. He was a bruiser. He was a hard-hitting guy. After the demise of WCW, he went on to be a trainer for the Divas in WWF at the time, going into the E name change. He was on record saying he was ribbed by management, I put that in quotes, as a wrestler. So he made the best of his situation, because then they put him in charge of the training center, specifically the women. Much like how Alundra Blaze was, what was her name? Medusa in WCW. She was put in charge of the women in WCW, training them. Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson, so forth. So, two different people. Obviously, when I think of women's wrestlers, I think of Medusa / Alundra Blaze as only a character, not worth of shit in the ring. That much was clear when we covered that in the previous episode against Akira Hokuto. Covered a match where Alundra Blaze kind of flopped around the ring and did nothing the whole time. That's who she was. But anyways, Fit Finlay was very much different. He was a good worker, and he was responsible for creating the golden age of women's wrestling in WWE, training the likes of Trish Stratus, Lita, Molly Holly, and Victoria, just to name a few. He was he was very instrumental. There we go. He was very instrumental in his vision in making the best of his own situation was to train these women properly as workers and create characters to make them different from one another. And you could definitely see that when all these characters, wrestlers, came into play. When I say Trish Stratus, Lita, Molly Holly, Victoria, you know exactly who I'm talking about, their style in the ring, and their persona in the ring. All of them were different. He made his in-ring return late in 2005, and it was clear how instrumental he was to the women in WWE because they immediately went back to their old ways and approaches to not only training the women, but their characters as well. You know, they all became divas again, essentially. So, that's the background, and we know exactly what happened as soon as Trish Stratus, Lita, Molly Holly, and all those women left or retired. We got the Bellas and Eva Marie and
Dark Time.
Dark Time. Well, it just went back to what it used to be, nothing, essentially.
Yeah.
So our first match we're talking about with Fit Finlay. Well, you know what, Rad? When I say Fit Finlay, what comes to mind?
WCW.
For you? So for me, my memory wasn't too much with Fit Finlay, even though I do remember him specifically. Now that I remember him, it was the hodgepodgey character work with Hornswoggle.
Oh no. Yeah,
that's what it's become.
Comedic BS, but you know,
the Irish guy with the leprechaun.
Yeah.
What a shock, right? But we're not quite there. I wanted to represent Finlay as the type of worker he was, and I picked two matches here that I think represent it well. One was in WCW, the other was WWE upon his return.
Mm-hmm. Two defining matches, actually, yes. I would say for his career.
Absolutely, and 10 years apart, so it does matter. So the first one is uncensored WCW 1996. Fit Finlay, the Belfast Bruiser versus Lord Steven Regal. So, Rad, how about Finlay's mustache and mullet, eh?
Yeah,
in this
completely
time.
Different from the picture or what we picture, you know, for Fit Finlay. But yeah, it was the 90s.
He still had his singlet and shorts, that's for sure. Yeah. He was still sporting that. This match featured a whole lot of heavy forearm strikes and arm work from both guys. More hard-hitting from Fit Finlay, for sure.
I'm glad you brought that up because both of these wrestlers were actually very similar in their style. You know, they were both, I guess, considered brawlers, so we definitely saw it in this match.
I associate Regal with more technical work that's capable of being on that stiffer side. But yes, the British style was definitely, or the UK European style was definitely noticeable in these two. Fit Finlay definitely fit to his name, the Belfast Bruiser. 100%. I noticed each and every pinfall attempt between the two, they drove their elbow or forearm across the face. They made it seem like they were going for a pin. It made it hurt. That was just one of those small details that to me make a match more worth investing into. I also noticed that the crowd was incredibly dead for this match, unfortunately, which speaks, I think, volumes to the USA market, even to this day, where at least in WCW and WWE's case, when you get a foreign wrestler, they don't know how to market wrestlers outside of their own country. They always
no, they don't.
Yeah, they always seem to give them gimmicks or whatnot that's associated with their country.
All
that's
character work.
Very stereotypical, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what was happening here. We have an Irish guy who likes to fight. What a shock! They might as well give him. They might as well give him some Killians or something as he comes down the ring. And then Lord Steven Regal, the hoity-toity British dude with a butler, and that's exactly what we got here. However, taken away from that, it was a real nice, subtle match between place strikes, technical groundwork, very British style. So it's no surprise to me that the audience wasn't into it. I mean, I'll be honest, as a kid, I didn't give a shit about it either. But that's also
did I.
Yeah, that's also in presentation. If it's presented,
it's all about the booking, and WCW is always. You know what though? During this time, the NWO hadn't started, but the booking was still very much the same, and they always tended to favor their main events, over the mid card workhorses, so to speak. And whenever something like this was presented in front of us, we just didn't give a damn.
Yeah, it was always nothing. There was no work behind it really, other than these two guys wants to fight. Yeah. And they wanted the character work they wanted their characters to rely on. It never works, ever. Especially if you're such a traveling promotion like WCW or WWE. It works in the UK right now because they're usually in the same areas frequently. So even if you aren't familiar with the promotions, you can grasp the characters more. In this case, you don't. There was a nice spot halfway through where Regal was on the apron, and he suplexed Finlay straight to the outside on the ground. Very nice. That led to an even better spot where Regal kind of turned the ref around his back, and then he kicked Finlay in the nuts while he was in the corner.
God.
I mean, that just speaks to how Regal was, and the crowd still didn't react to it, which I'm very shocked. I was very shocked watching that. I was like, wow, that was very good. So clearly these two guys were trying their best in the ring. It was working for me in hindsight at the time. Again, we already said our piece. Finlay is clearly a good worker. Transitions are so smooth between the moves, while Regal complements him well. Obviously, similar styles there work out. They've clearly, been in the ring together a few times. A weird thing happens though. They wrestled 17 minutes. And then the Blue Bloods come out, which is like part of Regal's little butler stable at the time. And they come out and just beat down Finlay. No idea what happened. It's WCW at the time, I guess. Yeah,
beat down, cut.
Beat down, cut, match over. I'm like, what? And then clearly the fans weren't into that either. They're just like, all right, get them out of here. So shame to that and the end booking. But before all that, like taking the fans, ignoring that part, ignoring like previous and afterwards booking of nonsense that went along with foreign characters, this match was quite good, and it was quite good to watch. Like I just had a coffee and I'm like, good wrestling match, not bad.
Decent.
It's what you want out of a mid card, is what I would say. So, next match is No Mercy 2006 Fatal 4-Way. Finlay versus Lashley versus Batista versus King Booker for the big gold belt in WWE. This is 10 years later. And we see definitely the tale of two promotions here.
Yeah, definitely.
Funny how Booker T is... Oh, we have people that have joined the chat. But... all four guys come out. Crickets for Finlay's entrance. He came out first. Only slight for sorry. Only slight for Lashley. Little miswriting.
No worries.
Yeah, miswriting my agenda. Only slight for Lashley, so good to know he almost got crickets back then as well. Explodes for Batista.
Huge star at the time.
Huge star, 2006, that was Batista's time, who's not showing up at SmackDown 1000, by the way. You'd think he'd be on the list for WWE, but whatever. He wasn't even contacted.
Man, even if they did, I don't even think he'd bother. I think his last return, and I still blame the booking and what they did to Daniel Bryan, which is what made people reject Batista's return. So again, that's another story. Maybe we can discuss that down the road. But,
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah. I wouldn't, even if they did. I don't think he's got his Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy thing going on. He hasn't made.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Yeah. And then I swear they crowd silenced cheering for Booker T in his entrance. I swear.
Like, if they actually blocked it out?
Yeah. I think they wanted booze, and I think they crowd silenced it.
And the thing is, I mean, obviously, I think King Booker was a stupid character, but one thing I will give that character is that it was hilarious. When he would used to talk and the lingo used to come out with, like, peasants, this and that. It was just freaking funny, and I'm thinking maybe the fans actually enjoyed it. So they probably cheered this guy on, and WWE was like, nope, go ahead and block that out. Yeah,
so hindsight, 2006 Booker T was crowd silenced back then. I to this day, regardless of the Triple H thing, I don't think WWE wanted anything to do with Booker T being as over as he was.
Yeah,
because he was a
WCW guy. Yeah. They couldn't stand that.
They couldn't. They couldn't take that. So they wanted to bury him every time. They wanted to give him stupid gimmicks. They put him in that Triple H situation. Regardless, let's move on. Finlay and Booker T. We have a comment from the live chat. King Booker was a throwback. That's why I got over in a bland type era where everyone looked the same and talked. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah, very true.
Finlay and Booker T quickly became allies because of the whole Booker's Court kind of situation. To take out Batista and Lashley, two bland smiley face characters, but regardless, Batista was more over because of the whole evolution thing. I think that was coming after that, right after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this was about a year after.
So, Finlay turns on King Booker 4 minutes into the match. That's how long that alliance lasted. I think it went too quick, if you ask me. And JBL has a meltdown on commentary. Like, oh my god, it really took away from the match for a few minutes there, because JBL basically was calling Finlay like a snake. He was shouting into the mic, like really making a big deal about it. Way too much. But to me, Finlay was the hands down MVP in this match. He worked so well. He was the guy that seemed to be always in the ring in this match.
He was working it.
He was working it hard. The match was a mess, like, regardless. But Finlay was always in it, trying to make the best of the situation. Batista seemed absent throughout, like he was thrown out of the ring, and he just wouldn't get in right away. The crowd seemed totally out of it until Lashley set up for a... So, there was, eventually Lashley sets up for a spear, and then Hornswoggle, going by Little Bastard at the time, nut tapped him. I kind of got a little laugh out of that. It was just it was Cole then... Oh, look at the little bastard going over. Like, really, just, it was too much. Like, commentary was bad in this match.
Yeah,
Red.
It was whack.
Oh, my God. It was impossible to listen to. I didn't know what was going on with it. They were trying to put over the guys that the crowd just didn't care about, and trying to make Finlay this nobody. They were really adamant about that. So, which I never agree with commentary, trying to downplay dudes in the match. That seems to be a recurring theme in WWE since the turn of the 2000s, at least with what my memory can recall.
Sure.
But at this point, Lashley was still pretty green and it was very obvious for most of the match because he seemed just lost. I think that's where a lot of where I get my opinion that the match was messy comes from. Batista's ring sense seemed off as well. He was, kind of awkwardly moving around the ring, just not knowing when to time things. Barrett, like, just transitions. The match was definitely good when it was Finlay and Booker T working together on the two baby faces. Once they got out of that little area at any point in time, it was hot garbage. But But that speaks highly to Finlay and how he was able to try and salvage what was going on.
Yeah, he just went ahead and did what he could with what was given to him.
Yeah, despite the little leprechaun shillelagh gimmick they were starting to give him.
One of the worst things ever in pro wrestling.
Yeah. At around the 10-minute mark, that's when Lashley and Batista finally got the little 1v1 moment, and oh my god, Rad. Crowd got up. I don't know how much you remember from the match, but crowd gets up, right? They're all hyped for it. You know, two big hosses going at it, two big muscly dudes, sweaty guys, six-packs and everything. And it's immediately shut down because these are two guys that don't know how to do fuck all in the ring.
Jeez.
Because they stare at each other, they approach each other, Batista kicks him in the midsection, throws him in the corner, end of story. That's all you got.
That's it. No back and forth action, no double signature, nothing.
Nothing. It just immediately came to an end. And then I have no idea how Batista got busted open in this match. I rewatched like a good full minute of this exchange that happened because he wasn't bleeding before the Lashley showdown. There was no like impact or nothing. He just started bleeding profusely out of nowhere. Just no idea.
They used to bleed a lot at the time. I don't know, maybe that was their way of just trying to give the match maybe that, hardcore boost.
Well, he's a shitty blader then on top of it. Because he wasn't bleeding when he got into the ring after, like, the best I can think of is he bladed under the ring before he got into it, right? There was that small exchange. Lashley kind of tossed him into the turnbuckle a bit, but he clearly hit his, like, midsection. And then he just started getting that crimson mask. I'm like, well, all right, I guess.
That came out of nowhere.
Strange finish where Batista spinebusters everyone. Booker's the last one, I might add, very important. He powerbombs Finlay. Lashley gets up, spears Batista. They're right next to Finlay. And Booker crawls over for the pin. Like, just, the match was hot shit. Finlay, though, MVP, it was so incredibly obvious how much better he was in this match than anyone else in the ring.
And the funny thing is that he was probably the least cared for, by the audience at the time.
Oh, 100%. That's why I mentioned the crickets for his entrance at the beginning. Yeah, such a shame. Such a shame. And that's what happens when you give these foreign wrestlers these stereotypical, just hot shit gimmicks.
Lazy writing.
It's lazy writing. I'm sure Finlay was just happy to be in the ring again, honestly. So, my thoughts over Finlay was fantastic worker, very underappreciated. Hopefully the spotlight brings more to our viewers' eyes and ears on how much impact he does have. Because you do need these workhorse mid-carders. Some get over, some don't.
But they're there. You need them in the roster.
You definitely need them in the roster. And if you have these guys lose all the time, right? Like him being in this Fatal 4, I think was so important for the match to even be mildly entertaining. But if you have these guys lose all the time, then you'll never even have this level of meaning in matches. So people that come to mind, like who comes to mind and who could be this kind of worker today, if we talk about like WWE.
How do you mean, like in the mid card role?
Yeah, sure. If there, well, I guess first there'd have to be a mid card, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, like it's kind of hard to choose because we really can't tell where that line, ends anymore. And this guy is a main event star. Obviously, he's in the Shield now, but I would say maybe similar to Seth Rollins. I know he's a much bigger star than Fit Finlay, but I mean, you're talking about a workhorse.
That's true. See, when it comes to people like, just to play devil's advocate and putting you down a little bit.
Unless you want me to compare him to somebody like Dolph Ziggler, but that's not a success story either.
So our chat, Hibiki TMD, guest on the podcast and couple of them now. He says Lars Sullivan would be a good talent like that. I would definitely agree, but that's NXT.
Yeah.
That's NXT. I think, now this might be being more along the simple lines. I think a guy like Chad Gable, with his character work now, I think someone like that would be a fantastic mid-card guy. You know, you give him some important wins, then when, you know, you have your stupid open challenge for your mid-card titles that they don't care about, then if a guy like that steps up and he's coming across a few wins and you know a guy can work, that makes the match that much better. That's, to me, a Finlay-type character. Even a guy like No Way Jose, who has kind of the goofy dance gimmick, he's still a decent enough worker in the ring to do that. Cesaro, he comes to mind. I see.
Yeah, Cesaro's a good example.
He's an amazing worker. Chris Hero / if we're sticking like NXT with the Lars Sullivan, like Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, perfect type guys. But you have to have them win. You can't have them lose all the time. So, that's when you start getting shit like Mojo Rawley against Seth Rollins. You're like, yeah, decent match, but did we really think for 1 second that Mojo Rawley was going to beat Seth Rollins? No.
Yeah, no, of course not. Highly predictable.
Yeah. But we've gone on long enough. Let's move on. I don't have any more thoughts over Finlay. Do you?
No, not at all. I think we covered, as I said, they were 2 career-defining matches, for him, even though they weren't the best of matches. But again, he was only working with what was put in front of him. I blame the booking on that part, but definitely was an integral part of the roster. And my most notable memories of the guy do stem from WCW, and he was one badass brawler. Heck of a, wrestler, so many hardcore matches. He knew how to fight. He liked to fight.
There you go. He did like to fight. Moving on.
You bet.
Alrighty. Real quick. Don't want to go too much into these because we got a lot to talk about here. But got some Puro style wrestling here. August 18th in the Kawasaki Festival, the GHC title, that's the big title in pro wrestling Noah, was defended a couple times. Sugiura retains against Go Shiozaki. I'm just going to run through this right fast, Red. There's not much to talk about here.
Yeah.
Match went 34 fucking minutes. A hard sweat flying affair. Yeah, I mean, Sugiura is putting in the work, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Sugiura continues to overperform way past when he should. Shiozaki was great in this match. I do like the guy, but the fans just do not care about him, unfortunately, and this hurts. This is my theory on why he's never truly vaulted to the main event, and that's okay. To me, that reminds me of Dolph Ziggler.
Right?
A great worker, sells well in the ring, works with anybody. The fans just don't really get behind the guy. So, that's perfect mid-card type stuff to me. Go Shiozaki used vicious chops to Sugiura's devastating killer elbows. One spot in particular that I'm seeing Sugiura do quite more often these days is he has a spot in the corner where he just murders his opponent with elbows. Like watch a gif of it. It just looks painful. Shiozaki was selling like a fucking champ throughout the match, willing to. There was a release German into the corner, and Sugiura was definitely gonna not throw him into the corner. He was gonna be short, so Shiozaki does the little extra jump on the release German and runs himself head and neck first into the corner. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, don't kill yourself. Match looked very exhausting, causing both men to just be fucking spent. Good example of what a Noah match is, to be honest. This is what you associate with Noah style wrestling. It ends with an avalanche Olympic slam. That's more or less Sugiura's finisher. Credit to Sugiura's just crazy amount of strength and balance. Dude shouldn't be doing this, especially at his age and how long he's had to kind of carry the weight of the company on his shoulders, especially in 2018. So, good stuff there. I would say if you're a fan of that style and what Noah is, the main event of this one in particular is definitely worth seeking out. Then September 2nd of this month that we're recording here, Sugiura defended the title again against Masa Kitamiya. This goes in with that Noah storyline of just the young guys trying to topple Sugiura, the old guy, veterans against the rookies kind of deal, and Sugiura's been talking shit. He's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'll take your challenge. Guys match styles fairly well, but not a match worth seeking out, really. Not much to say about that. There was the big event, though, Marufuji's 20th anniversary. Rad, I'm sure you're familiar with, at least, this is the one where Hideo Itami went over to wrestle.
Oh, right, okay.
There you go. This one went 35 minutes, Itami against Marufuji. So a minute longer than that big one. I wouldn't say this is their best encounter by any means over the years. But it did definitely have that big match feel from start to finish. Crazy hot throughout. Coming from a couple guys that have worked together numerous times, both controlled the match well when needed. Itami playing the obvious heel character here because he's coming from WWE and it's Marufuji's big day, not his. So, the characters matched. There were a few botches in it with a weird pile driver on the apron falling to the outside. More or less, Marufuji stuck Itami's shoulders on the mat, and then just kind of laid Itami to the mat. So I don't know. They played it off like it was a much more devastating move. So I can't really argue with that. I would rather see that than a dude's head actually come in contact with the mat. We'll get to a match later where that did happen. Both guys totally missed their finishers at the end. Absolutely due to exhaustion because they were going 100% the entire time. There wasn't one moment in this match where there was a rest hold.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, nuts. So I'm giving a little pass because of that.
Yeah.
I was highly entertained. It's a very long, kind of drawn out match. Being 35 minutes and all. Guys going 100%, trying to do all their work in as quickly as possible. They did have to go to the well of the same move sets a few times. It's just me nitpicking at this point, but I do have a question for you. How a Nakamura Itami storyline hasn't developed in the E right now is beyond me.
So true. That should have happened over at NXT.
Well, Itami was injured at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But oh my God, have Itami invade SmackDown? I mean, 205 Live and SmackDown are back to back. Wouldn't be hard. Or Nakamura invade 205 Live and call him out. I mean, just any or have a team.
It's just like a random one shot. I think the crowd would really dig it, and it would definitely bring in obviously people that were fans of their work back in Japan.
Absolutely. I mean, you're bringing in an audience there. You have the story pretty much already made. You have, that's how you would get all that NXT audience liking WWE for just even that limited amount of time. That would bring them back in. But hey, it's a dream match scenario. It's not in the E's formula, so that's why it's not happening. But I'll still say how it hasn't developed is beyond my understanding. So, moving on. All Japan Summer Explosion. This was recommended by another podcast I like listening to, Loudmouth Wrestling Podcast. LK, he was a guest a couple podcasts ago, so definitely shout out to him. If you're into Japanese wrestling, the Puro style, definitely seek the Loudmouth Wrestling Podcast out for that. He recommended a certain tag match, Shuju Kondo and Kotaro Suzuki versus Masaki Mochizuki and Shun Skywalker. Dude, nailed those names, by the way. I'm so proud of myself. Junior Tag Battle, Night 4. I'll just read my notes and we'll move on. The match revolves around the hate of Kondo and Mochizuki. Match does nice exchanges and then immediately flips the script when Mochizuki gets into the ring and first kicks Kondo off the apron, followed up later with Kondo torturing Skywalker as he leans into his own corner. So good tag team work there. Skywalker and Kotaro do such a good job building tension to keep each other's partners from meeting each other in the ring, as a tag match fucking should be, to an epic tag team finish with the build all coming together. Best Puro tag match I've seen in quite some time. Match came in around 20 minutes, so it definitely was given the time.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Good character work, nothing to complain about. Fantastic stuff there.
Perfect time for a tag match.
It was a good time for a tag match. I have been dying for some good tag matches lately, and between Aussie Open, CCK, Summer Sizzler, a match we're going to get to in a second here, and this one, tag team's going well, especially with WXW's Tag League around the corner. I am hyped for some tag team wrestling. Main event, Zeus versus Ishikawa. Zeus, if you remember, Rad, he won the title couple podcasts ago. This is, yes, I believe, his first defense. A 28-minute slow build with hard hits, as the norm is All Japan Wrestling. Ishikawa runs most of the match, which I don't like seeing coming from the challenger. I don't know. That's another personal thing. You know how I don't like overselling a limb and then ignoring it altogether? This is very much in that same line where the challenger is running the match to ultimately lose. That's what I saw here. So, occasional Zeus power-up moment. He went very Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior type a couple times in this match. Sweat flying just totally off each other on some stiff clotheslines and slaps. So that was cool to see. So I don't know if the arena was overly hot or not, but it always seemed to get reversed into an Ishikawa strike or generally a knee. Ishikawa, for those that don't know, he's more of a deathmatch type guy, so he's a bit slower, but he does have some technical ability in there. Ishikawa and Zeus mostly meander throughout the match, though, not really picking up any of the crowd or even to get their opponent really into it. That's where the match loses me. You could feel this as the crowd was mostly out of it, or at least so I felt. I'm not saying the match was bad. It was very average. I just don't think... I get what All Japan's trying to do here. They're trying to build new guys. I appreciate that. But with guys like Miyahara, Jake Lee, like those guys, I just don't think Zeus is the guy. So, that's my take on it. But moving on. Impact, something you're more familiar with, Rad.
Of course.
Yes. They've been doing quite well in this mid to late 2018, especially their weekly free TV show, I might add. yeah,
definitely. I mean, they're definitely bringing in a little bit more viewers, but hey, I mean, they're making progress, and they have quite a bit of a relevancy again on social media and in a positive way. So they're definitely doing something right these days.
They're definitely doing it all right. However, the numbers are still quite low. I am calling all wrestling fans out on this as total hypocrites, because they say that Impact's killing it, and yet the numbers haven't changed. So clearly, they're not fucking watching.
Right.
So
they're the same viewers that have been loyal all this time.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're the ones that came in, watched Slammiversary, and then they're just like, "Yep, I'm done. That's all Impact I need to see. Fuck off." Otherwise, that LAX storyline of the kid getting hit by the car would have been all over social media if they were actually watching.
It was maybe relevant for that 10 minutes.
Oh, God.
I mean, I wasn't even watching the show at the time, and I knew what happened because of how social media blew up, but it came and it went.
Yeah, that just shows how many people are just totally just not sticking to their words. So, LAX is basically kayfabe gang warfare at this point. I'm getting a kick out of it, as kind of ridiculous as it sounds. They got some little Godfather thing going on. Mafia-like meetings to settle this. So it's fine. Tessa Blanchard became the new women's champion and successfully defended in her rematch versus Su Yung. I think this was the right move to give her the title. Su Yung got her gimmick over. She's a threat. She's got her little undead brides. She had her little run. Not putting on the great matches, but you know, it reminds me of The Undertaker kind of in his early years.
Yeah, she's definitely a character.
Yeah. But great time to put the title on Tessa Blanchard. She is hot fire right now. I look forward to who's going to step up and be the next challenger, whether that's one more match with Allie who I think can go. I just wish she would fix her goddamn super kick, because it's awful.
Yeah.
Everything else about her style works, but her super kick's bad. But I mean, just think about it. Taya's got her thyroid situation figured out, so it looks like she's getting her weight down so she can move in the ring again. Be the lucha queen, lucha royalty once again.
Yeah, there you go.
She did post on social media.
Loca.
Yeah, she did post on social media that her weight's been an issue lately, and that's due to her thyroids being out of whack. So,
yeah, I had no idea. That was a reason, but I really do like Taya, so
I do as well.
Definitely bounce back and get back to what she used to be. So
yeah, between her and Rosemary, and possibly a returning Chelsea Green or even Britt Baker going to Impact and sprucing up that division, they do have that agreement with Rise Wrestling right now. So the women's division is looking very good in Impact going forward. I would say it's, even though talent-wise, WWE has the advantage, the booking-wise is definitely in Impact's favor.
Always has. I've always been an advocate and a defender of the Knockouts division, all eras. They just really know how to book their women over there.
Oh, yeah. And Tessa Blanchard is the right person. Like,
she's the face right now, and they really needed that face again after Gail Kim left.
Yes, that's well
and
said.
I think Tessa is the new face of that division.
Yeah. Some other ongoing storylines here is OVE and Callahan are essentially destroying undercard talent, along with Eli Drake having kind of a weekly squash match local segment of just to get him some time and getting other heat. Brian Cage and Phoenix put on a great X Division title match worth seeking out. Austin Aries and Killer Cross added a new member to their little group in Moose, turning heel on Eddie Edwards, solidifying Aries as the main person in Impact.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Moose was getting a little stale. I think
this is refreshing.
I think this is a refreshing thing. This is not the same. I was called out on this because I hated the Braun Strowman turn, because of how blatant they made it, but I didn't mind the Moose turn because Moose had his run as a face. They allowed him to have his run. He was mid-card champ. I think he's still lacking that little something to put him over as the top guy, but this heel turn is quite good. I'm all for it, especially with going with Austin Aries. I mean, shit, I watched the latest Impact, and they opened, like, he's coming out with $1,000 suits. You know, him, Aries, and Cross are on a gold couch in the middle of the ring.
That's awesome.
So
this was yesterday's episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and KM and Falaba came out and talked some shit. They're like, Moose, you're a backstabber. And he's like, oh, what? Just simple things going on. Austin Aries, I was a little sore that they didn't keep the main title on Pentagon. But he had, Pentagon is a transitional champ. Austin Aries is just so damn good. And he can get guys over. And if this was their plan all along to get like Moose into a heel role and obviously adding Killer Cross, their plan worked out in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for Impact, unless you got something else to say.
No, we're good.
Yep. All right. So I'm just going to play a super quick drop here to signal that we're going to me and Jay from the SmackDown podcast talking about WXW. I got him to watch a WXW event, and I'm so proud. So we're going to take a lot of time to go into that.
That's great.
And when we come back, we're going into All In.
Excellent. Let's do this.
While I take my robe off and show the ladies what a real sexy man looks like.
Alrighty. So, Rad, we are back. And we're talking All In. Long time coming.
Yep.
And this is partly why this episode's called Fan Appreciation Weekend, because this felt like a fan appreciation pay-per-view.
It really was. Also, all the festivities surrounding it.
Absolutely. It made a lot of money. It was a great success. Their little pre-show, their hour, kind of 0 hour on WGN, only racked in about Impact numbers, so it wasn't very good. Not good at all, because, it's 2018. Who the hell has regular cable? Although if I get a antenna for my TV and go through that bother, I would have WGN as well, in some form or another. Mm-hmm. But really, that was kind of just the Midwest that really had access to that. So I definitely had to steal the 0 hour. I don't know why it wasn't given the option to be upon that package that you paid for.
Well, didn't they have the premium package? I don't know, it was like $100, but you had, or was that just Starcast festivities?
I think that was Starcast
festivities. Yeah, because I only saw two options. Obviously, I only ordered the main pay-per-view, but I'm thinking the other package was just Starcast stuff. I don't think they had anything else. But you're right. I think it would have been great if they just included, if they included everything.
Yeah. Especially that first hour. I think it would have gotten bigger numbers, because when the numbers finally did come out, they were just over Fight TV alone. They raked in over $1 million.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the Ring
Good
of
to freaking hear.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything over the New Japan and Ring of Honor numbers, but if it's anything like a Ring of Honor TV show, weekly TV show, where it rakes in, I want to say the average was about 500,000. Holy shit, very good. Even
it's a success story.
Even Pro Wrestling Tees. Oh shit, did it rake in $500,000 or $1 million at the end? Either way, it was a lot of money. Pro Wrestling Tees made bank over that weekend. So this was Smart Pay-Per-View Van Appreciation. So, normal tag match in the 0 hour. SCU defeats the Briscoes. They're going to kayfabe that to SCU gets a title shot. Not much else to say there. SCU is super over. Then the over-budget Battle Royal sees many feats. Lots of DX suckets from like Billy Gunn and his brother, I think. Bully Ray being a bully, he was the head heel in this match. Right as the match started, he took out a luchador on a table, and we all forgot about him.
Yeah.
Then it focused on Cage Cabana and Ethan Page being big dudes, Jordan Grace being a powerhouse woman standing equal with the big dudes. Very good moment for kind of the whole equality in women's wrestling that's going along right now. In fact, I'm seeing Jordan Grace take on Brian Cage this Sunday at Beyond Wrestling because of what happened in this Battle Royal, where Jordan Grace eventually threw out Brian Cage.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, they're continuing storylines coming out.
Oh yeah, they've been talking shit on Twitter. There was a nice little jab where Brian Cage asked Jordan Grace how much she benches, and then showed a gif of her not being able to, because there was a moment in the match where she had him on her shoulders, and she tried to do the whole squat down power up move, but she kind of dropped him, and she jokingly responded with "one Brian Cage."
Oh man.
So they've been kayfabing it still on Twitter, and they're having their match this Sunday. But besides that, good thing there. Flip Gordon ends up coming back into the ring dressed as the masked luchador to steal the win and finally get booked. So a lot of good story things happening here. I really liked this battle royal. It's one of the best I've seen in quite some time, to be honest. This is the type of battle royal that we should see at WrestleMania.
Yeah, something that's meaningful, not just randomly thrown in.
Yeah, especially when the winner actually gets something, not this trophy that means nothing.
Means nothing, right?
So, that's good. And then when the event started, this is where I was through Ring of Honor's Honor Club, and I totally missed the entire first match live because Honor Club crashed. Fight Club
that's
TV crashed for many people because so many people were watching this that everything was crashing, including I even tried, because I'm like, well, if Honor Club's not working, I guess I'm just going to go to some like bullshit sites. Even the illegal sites were crashing for All In.
Oh, that's hilarious. So the servers could even keep All In.
Nothing could keep All In. It was nuts. I went back and watched it. It's Matt Cross defeats MJF. This match wasn't even announced on the pre-card. Which we'll talk about later in a bit, is
that was the first match, right, on the main show. I think that's where I started, right after the national anthem. Yeah.
So Matt Cross is really goddamn good in the ring. MJF is a CZW guy. He's kind of rising on the indie scene, much like a Joey Janela type guy. We'll talk about him in a second. So not much else to say about the match there. It was fine. I don't think this match should have been on.
Yeah, that's more like a pre-show type of match. I hardly even remember it, but it just it was just there. I mean, decent opener. I'll give them their performance, but other than that, I mean, maybe it's the names.
Sure. Especially when we did learn that the whole show became cramped for time. This would be definitely something that I would throw out. Crystal Daniels carries a great match against a game Stephen Amell. A couple great spots from Amell, I must say.
Yeah. Good match.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, they were stumbling around quite a bit in the match. There was some little botchy stuff, like Daniels completely missing his BME, his best moonsault ever. But then commentary did a good job playing it off. It's like, oh, the only reason why Amell kicked out is because Daniels barely got any of it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's fine.
I guess the highlight was that, what was it, that table spot that they pulled off?
Yeah, well, did you know Amell is basically, before his spot in Green Arrow and he's protected as an actor, he was a stuntman.
Oh, okay. So he took it.
Yeah. So, I'm like, much like Ronda Rousey doing a judo throw, like, I'm not totally surprised.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's what she did.
I was like, I sure hope Amell can fall through something, right? He was a stuntman, otherwise he would have died in his previous job. The next match I really want to get into, because it's the Fatal 4-Way Women's match. Blanchard wins barely, that's the key word there, versus Madison Rayne, Hot Mess, Chelsea Green, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Yeah. Baker came out to Adam Cole's old Ring of Honor music.
That was great.
I must add. Chelsea Green came out as kind of a hybrid Hot Mess, Scorned Bride kind of deal, where she was struggling like with two personalities.
Yeah, two characters.
Loved it. She actually put a post on Twitter of how she should come out, like what character at All In, and the first response, she goes, should I come out as like Chelsea Green, or should I come out as the Hot Mess, or the Scorned Bride? And basically all of her fans on Twitter go, why not both? And she goes,
She played it very well. Yeah,
she played it excellent. I think she was definitely the highlight in that match. With
I totally agree with you. All four women performed incredibly, but Chelsea Green definitely stood out. And one thing I noticed is while I was watching it, I was being visited by my sister, who was like just passing by the room. Doesn't really know anything about wrestling other than I love it. Mm-hmm. And that character, caught her eye. She was like, "Oh, hey, is she doing like the Two-Face thing?" She was like, "Oh, it looks pretty cool." So it just goes to show you that Chelsea Green definitely stood out, whether you were a wrestling fan or not.
Yeah, I really hope Impact snatches her up again, at least gets her into some tapings down the line, because I would love to see that Two-Face or even Scorned Bride character come back for Tessa Blanchard, because Tessa absolutely killed it in this match as well. All four of them did.
Yeah, all four of them did.
Right.
Kudos to the women. Talk about women's evolution. These four women showed the world what they could do.
Yeah, they actually went a full 17 minutes.
Above and beyond, man. All the bumps they took, the slams they did, the spots were perfectly executed. It was a damn good match.
Oh yeah, Blanchard full pressing. I forget who she was pressing, but she presses them and then throws them out of the ring. Very old school style type spot.
Oh hell yeah, man. She came out as came off as somebody of I guess muscle, like a power wrestler. She looks amazing.
Yeah, she came off as the champion to beat, to be honest. That's how I took it. And she did win, and this spot came off as, rubbed people the wrong way, because it looked like They were Baker and who did she pin? Did she pin Rain in the end? I don't remember. But whoever Blanchard pinned, it looked like the other two could have broken it up, but they chose not to. I think it was a bad camera angle, to be honest.
Yeah, I can definitely see that the camera angle would definitely mess that up.
Yeah, so I think, despite kind of the weird finish, if you look at it as the two people were so exhausted they didn't have the energy to make the pin breakup, then the match comes off as all four women kind of being more equal and being the true evolution. I think that's what they were going for, and I think that camera angle just kind of ruined that a little bit, but whatever. Rad, take me through this NWA World Heavyweight title match, please, because that's the next match.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it would be an honor because let me tell you, this match was it was just fantastic. It was something else. This is something that this match right here and the build towards it and just the audience's reaction as they kind of had that stare down. This is why I'm a pro wrestling fan, and this definitely takes me back to the old days of the NWA, WCW. I'm definitely a fan of that old school type of wrestling, and Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis definitely gave us that. Just so much prestige around it. Obviously Cody Rhodes gunning for the World Championship, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship that his father once held. Just so much history behind it, and everything was just perfectly executed. These two guys, I'm a fan of both. I knew right off the bat Cody Rhodes was going to be the guy to win it. Of course, my pick was originally Nick Aldis because I think he brings prestige to that title. But as per how the match went down, definitely the right man won. The history is there. It's kind of like a full circle, being that now he is the champion that is, carrying the belt that his dad once held, Dusty Rhodes. Hell of a match. I mean, it just brings goosebumps, and it's definitely a match I can definitely revisit later down the road. One of my favorite matches of the year, and that was Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
It's definitely one of the more memorable matches. When it ended, the crowd, the crowd reaction was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be able to say that about the NWA title in 2018.
Jesus Christ, definitely. It's just, the crowd was nuts. They were on fire. They exploded. Talking about 10,000 plus, fans on the edge of their seat to watch Cody Rhodes win the NWA Championship. This is what wrestling is all about. This is why I personally like wrestling, and I think it's great for the business. It's not all just about entertainment, but rather two incredible in-ring performers trying to tell a story but making it look like a legitimate contest, and that's what this match gave us.
Yeah.
Not to mention Brandy Rhodes, by Cody Rhodes' side. I think she freaking nails it. She knows what she's doing, and it just looks great on TV.
She plays that manager role quite well, doesn't she?
Very well.
This was definitely an old school NWA WCW style match. This reminded me of the late 80s, even the US title, early 80s. NWA US title, very easily, especially all the way down to the blade job.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The blade job with the ref trying to oversell it. I did think Aldis was pretty sloppy in this match, even though he did play a good villain to Cody's hero character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Nitpicking what the match truly was and what it represented. Because Aldis did play his part well enough, I would say. I did get a kick out of DDP's diamond cutter in the middle of the ring. He didn't do the bang to take away from the match and put the spotlight on him. He just did the diamond cutter, did his little lay down on the middle rope and got out of the ring. So that was good. What'd you think?
Yeah, and I'm glad he was involved in that because I know Diamond Dallas Page has quite the history with Dusty Rhodes, who supported him when he was a nobody. So having a DDP, on Cody Rhodes' side, that was just really cool.
Yeah, both guys came out to the little entourage of guys that meant a lot to them, for the industry and the NWA. Yeah, I think Aldis came out with Jeff Jarrett and a couple other guys. which makes sense. Jeff Jarrett has a heavy history with the NWA title as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he was going back to being a supporting role. He definitely was a huge supporter of Nick Aldis. Obviously, Nick Aldis, formerly known as Magnus, over at TNA Impact Wrestling. Yeah, it only made sense to have Jeff Jarrett by his side.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Brett Bulldog type finish, or the mirroring Dusty Rhodes finish and how he won the NWA title?
I think it worked well. It was freaking fantastic. I think when it was being executed, the fans knew what was going down, and part of it led to I guess that explosion, so to speak.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the highlights of the year, and I'll remember this for years down the line.
I can't wait for a DVD release. I don't know if they've announced one yet, but I'm definitely going to buy it now for this specific match.
Yeah. Did you know that WWE did not allow Mickie James to even attend All In to support her husband Nick Aldis?
I had no idea. So they
Same thing happened with Adam Cole, with Britt Baker.
Man. You see him with Adam Cole, I thought maybe he might have just been booked, elsewhere or something.
No, they WWE specifically told the wrestlers, Zack Ryder with Chelsea Green as well.
Sure.
They told all their wrestlers that had anything to do with All In, you are not allowed there.
They should have just went with a mask. Didn't Paige pull that off one time with Del Rio and Impact?
Paige showed up at a Defiant taping over in when it was still WCPW. She showed up in the back. I remember that. Maybe Paige showed up with a mask, but that's not what All In was. All In was supposed to be it was supposed to be the wrestlers event. I think it's just WWE being, they want to be the only ticket in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, next match, Hangman Page kills Joey Janela twice in a street fight with a couple good spots out of Penelope Ford.
Oh, hell yeah. Freaking fantastic match. That was an awesome street fight.
I was afraid the whole time that these two were going to kill each other, because anytime I see Joey Janela in the ring, I'm like, oh, God. What's he going to do now?
What's he going to do now?
The Cracker Barrel spots were quite funny.
Yeah.
Getting the sponsor in there.
It was good. I'm definitely a supporter of Hangman Page, too. This guy has a bright future, and every promotion he's been wrestling for, they're definitely giving him the ball, and he's running with it. So that's good to see. Pretty much who stood out for me personally here was Penelope Ford. She definitely showed the world what she can do with her moves, and I'm aware of her work. I've just never really actually seen a match. I think I was in a chat with you, and you mentioned that she has a background. I don't know, what is it, in gymnastics or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, holy crap, man! The moves that she pulled off, and when she did that, that backflip, dodge and whatnot, I was just really impressed by her performance. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, as a gymnast myself, if you tell me you're a gymnast and you do a back handspring, I'll be like, yeah, it's a back handspring. I sure hope you can do that, much like Ronda Rousey with her judo throws. Oh, yeah, Olympic judo throw? Olympic judo champion? I sure hope you can judo throw somebody.
But yeah, it was really cool. Not to mention, she also did other moves as well.
I like the stunner the most, personally, and Hangman Page sold it like a champ.
I want to say, I don't remember who I was following that retweeted that GIF, but I definitely really loved that move. It came out looking really, really cool.
Yeah. So I think this match probably went on 5 minutes too long, including the res-erection of Joey Ryan.
Oh, God. Yeah, probably the one thing I disliked about All In, but I'm not a nitpicker. I can definitely work around that.
I've never been a fan of Joey Ryan. I'll be
I can't stand
but this actually made me kind of crack up quite a bit because of how dumb it was. Coming from somebody who doesn't like Joey Ryan and his character. I mean, this is even in Lucha Underground. I don't like the lollipop thing he does with the pants and spreading the oil on his chest and looking at sleazebag Joey Ryan, but apparently he's like the nicest guy in the world. That's why women work with him.
So I've heard. Yeah, you would think it'd be the other way around, but obviously he's just doing a character. This is super. I mean, this is why I ended up not minding it too much, is because it was a story that was built from the ground up. It was months and months and months and months in the making, and it paid off in just a crazy, unique way.
that's what made it not. That's what made me not hate it. It wasn't just 2 weeks of build and then all of a sudden penis people.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm aware of the story behind it. Obviously, this was the climax, no pun intended. You know, but it was
was it?
it was to be expected. You know, we saw him wake up from his death or being in a coma, and he did the Undertaker thing with the people walking around, I guess druids, but dressed as penises. I mean, I think it's so stupid, but it's hilarious. But yeah, it's so funny. But one thing I will give it is that it worked, and I think the purpose of the show, All In its entirety, was that it had a little bit of something for everyone.
Yes.
And and obviously, you can't have a wrestling show. I'm not a fan of comedic spots whatsoever, but I know it's necessary for a complete show, and I think this was what that highlight for All In. So if somebody was craving that, type of comedy, or for any Joey Ryan fans out there, we know that they are around. This was definitely the highlight for them, and it worked for the show, and I'm okay with it. If I was a booker and that had to be in there, I'd say, hey, go for it. Go have fun.
I did like how they managed to pull the story into this just hardcore match itself. For such a street fight type of environment, because let's face it, when WWE does something, the indie scene also seems to need to do it as well, whether it's street fights, last man standing matches. I'm seeing a fucking ton of them these days. Mexican death matches, they just keep popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
With this match built around a comedic storyline of Hangman Page, with talking to his boots, like haunting him, and he's walking around barefoot everywhere. The dude just oversold this to the T, with Penelope Ford pulling the boots out of the trash bag and him talking to her during the match. Then Hangman Page later taking another trash bag, and it has the phone that he allegedly killed Joey Ryan with, and beating Joey Janela at the top of the ladder led to him hitting the finisher at the end. There
you go. And I guess that's a perfect example of how you get payoff when you're telling a story, and All In also had that as well. Obviously, if there's been people that are a fan of indie wrestling and invested in these characters, they knew what was going on. So that's what it was all about.
Yeah. Good stuff. Moving on. Kind of ridiculous, but hey. Black Machismo, Jay Lethal,
freaking fantastic,
defeats Flip Gordon in a complete match with the Mega Powers references.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Again, more comedy, but this is the kind of comedy I like.
It was, Black Machismo coming out, the whole kayfabe of Macho Man's brother ringside, getting Black Machismo out of Jay Lethal during the match, and Flip Gordon trying his hardest to win, but then channeling Hulk Hogan in the middle of it.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was the Clash of the Mega Powers affair, much like how we saw kind of an NWA style affair match in the Cody Aldis one. This was a callback to just how ridiculous the late 80s and early 90s of WWF was, with Jay Lethal pulling Brandy to his corner and calling her Liz. Brandy's like, I'm not Liz, and then he puts her on his shoulders.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was hilarious. He was like totally in the Black Machismo character.
Yeah, it was great. And he'd switch between Jay Lethal and whatnot. So not much else to say about the match. It was fine. It had its place. I didn't mind it. If Flip Gordon was to be booked, I did appreciate, like, this is how he's to be booked, because I don't,
definitely.
Personally, I don't see him as the main event player quite yet in his career. So this was a good way to try and get that over.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Omega Pentagon match? It went 16 minutes, complete with package pile drivers. Ooh, say that 5 times fast.
I thought it was good. I quite enjoyed it. Not one of Omega's best matches, or vice versa, coming from Penta. But it was very enjoyable. It was back and forth action. I liked it.
Yeah, I think for a dream match scenario, and Pentagon being super over, Omega coming off the G1, I believe this was his first match after that. Him dealing with a little bit of injuries. 60 minutes seems perfect. Like I said, that 15-minute marker is key for matches. I don't know what it is, but you tell with the way matches go beginning, middle, of end, 15 minutes seems to be that benchmark. And 20 minutes, if you can do it right, that's the benchmark for a great match.
Yeah.
And 60 minutes seemed perfect. There was that package pile driver Pentagon did to Omega on the apron that made me go, oh no. Because that's the one that I mentioned earlier in the cast where Omega did hit his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof. But yeah, good match. I don't really have much else to say other than the right guy went over. I was, there's a part of me hoping Pentagon would go over, making him even a bigger star, possibly seeing him in the G1 next year or show up in Japan.
Kenny Omega, obviously, he's in his prime, so there's no way in hell, he should be booked to lose.
Yeah, much like how in the next match is Okada and Skrull, they went 26 minutes in a junior...
Before we move on
okay.
to that match, very important part, and probably my highlight of All In was the ending right after. Yeah. Man, Kenny Omega wins, the lights go out. I honestly thought that maybe that was some sort of mistake. Then they come back on. We see, Pentagon still standing there, but something's not quite right. And one of the commentators noted that his tattoos were different. Right off the bat, everybody, pretty much knew it was Chris Jericho. That was amazing. I think it was executed very well. Jericho pretty much attacked Kenny Omega, and the challenge is already given that he would see Kenny Omega at what is it called? The Cruise?
The Cruise of Jericho, yeah. See you on the boat.
So that was good stuff, man. I really enjoyed the piece. I wasn't expecting to see Chris Jericho at All In because, it just wasn't announced.
No, I was expecting, when the lights went out, I thought it was going to be Neville, because I was on Instagram, and Chris Jericho was posting on Instagram how he had a gig in, Kansas City.
Kayfabe.
That night. No, and he showed up. He took a direct private flight straight from All In to Kansas City, and he performed in the Pentagon makeup that night. Oh,
interesting. So he actually pulled off both gigs.
He did.
Okay.
And that's what made it, even more incredible.
What a legend, man.
Yeah, look up on his Instagram.
Fucking rock star.
Yeah, look up on his Instagram and Twitter, what he was posting, because he showed up, did the spot, and then immediately bounced to Kansas City and did his, I think it was Kansas City, and did his performance. He was still in the Pentagon makeup and everything.
Holy shit, man. He really is the best in the world at what he does.
Yeah. Yeah, no joke. Chris Jericho is, 10 out of 10 right now. He is as big as... He's as big a draw as Lesnar.
Oh, definitely. Huge name. He's been in the industry for many, many years. All kinds of eras he's been involved in. I'm rocking my Alpha Club t-shirt right now, so definitely a fan of Chris Jericho.
Alrighty. Well, Okada and Skrull put on a 26-minute match of junior heavyweight versus heavyweight. Match of pride, essentially. And Skrull made everyone a believer in this match, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. He was definitely prime time. If ramifications, if Skrull would have won this match, because that was the story built, that he's a junior weight, he can't, you can't beat a heavyweight. If Ospreay can't do it, then you certainly can't, because you didn't beat Ospreay. Okada is Okada. He's the Rainmaker. He even came out like the Rainmaker. Yeah, the match went a little long. It dragged at times, but Okada's so damn good, and Skrull, Skrull can work. This is just another example of Skrull being able to work. He's not a comedy act 100% of the time.
Yeah, I thought it was a real good match. Probably my second favorite of the night. Right behind Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis. It was just a fantastic performance from both. As you mentioned, Okada, all his matches are always great, and Marty Skrull can definitely perform. So.
Yeah.
Not complaining about those 26 minutes at all.
No. What I will complain about is how the main event went down. And that was the Golden Elite. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. Golden Elite defeats the Crazy Luchadors as the world now knows Phoenix and Bandito. About damn time. Match was at a panic and went 1,000 miles per hour to get their spots in before the clock ran out of that night.
Yeah. Man, they were just back and forth. I think that is what helped the match I guess be at the speed that it was. It just helped it be on the fire, that level that it was at. It was just freaking amazing. I was on the edge of my seat. I wasn't really expecting this. Obviously as an old school wrestling fan, like you, JD, I always feel the main event should be, one-on-one World Heavyweight Championship.
Mm-hmm.
But here it definitely worked. I understand why they did it. Golden Elite were definitely the names here, and Rey Mysterio, seeing him return to the ring here at All In. First time we see Rey Mysterio come face to face with Kota Ibushi. The fans exploded for that little stare down, and they went at it for that minute exchange that they had. It was good stuff, and I was definitely engaged. I really enjoyed it. Another favorite match of mine of the night, but it cut suddenly. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't realize that they were pressed for time, and the show just went off the air abruptly. And I think had they maintained that momentum and went on for another 5 or 10 minutes, definitely it would have been a great, spectacular match.
Yeah, it would have been a different topic. For the, I think it went like 8 or 9 minutes. For that amount of time that it went, it was balls to the wall, momentum. Like awesome.
God. Yeah, they really killed it with the momentum, and it shouldn't have ended like that. But again, I know they had time constraints, and they had to just shut off the show, unfortunately. Yeah. So.
What I took away from All In, from a wrestling perspective, is there's so many different styles out there and characters, and that's what this show was. A show off to the fans of there's so much more wrestling out there than not directly comparing WWE, but let's be honest, like that seems to be the only game in town. And from someone who loves basically everything outside of the E, this was a great example of look at all this other stuff out there. You'll definitely find something to like.
Just like WrestleMania used to have the slogan, Showcase of the Immortals, I would definitely give this the slogan, Showcase of the Indies, because this was a chance for anybody who has never been exposed to indie wrestling in particular, or any of these names, but obviously they may have heard. Here was the event to, tune in. They were able to show what they had, in front of the entire world, and it worked. This is the first time that this has ever been done, primarily funded by just 3 guys, a major success story. I'm proud to be a wrestling fan because of the success surrounded by, All In.
Absolutely.
Oh man, this is, that flagship show, what WrestleMania is to WWE, All In is for independent wrestling. And I hope this is not, the one and done type of scenario. Whether it be an annual thing or a biannual thing, every 2 years, every 3 years, what have you, I think it will be something special. I really hope they continue the tradition and we get some sort of All In too, so to speak.
Yeah. This was the first event outside of WWE and WCW that has gated really 10,000 tickets since 1993. And that was when I think it was AAA Libra did an event in California.
I'm not even sure if Impact Wrestling ever raked in those numbers. I think their highest attended show was like 7,000 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was Slammiversary. That was one of the Slammiversaries.
So I was thinking it might have been I was going to say Lockdown in Alamo Dome, but I think that was already topped. Yeah, it was Slammiversary.
It was one of them. I can't remember which one though. So that was All In. Good stuff. For those wondering, I did cover the top wrestlers of the podcast from All In in the last episode. So just to be clear on that when I go over my rankings at the end of the cast. All right. I'm going to play my new favorite drop, and we'll get into our Tier 2, New Japan and Ring of Honor. Alrighty, Rad. New Japan Road to Destruction is on full force. They've done 3 shows. The third show was Blue Justice 8. It was just more or less the vets of New Japan putting on a show. Not much else to say there. It was fine. But September 7th showed Ishii and Ospreay in a tag match versus Omega and Ibushi, the Golden Lovers, in the main event. Fantastic tag exchange. Starts slow, builds off face-offs between i.e. Ishii and Omega. Even started to build something more towards Ibushi and Ospreay. Looked to me that Ospreay was gunning for the Golden Star all match, Rad. I think Ospreay's on the cusp of breaking into the heavyweights. So
I can definitely see that happening.
Oh yeah, he's definitely on the taller side. He's real lean. He can definitely put on a few pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he can't be much smaller than Tanahashi, right?
No, maybe about. I mean, maybe not the same build, but as far as like height is concerned, yeah, if you just gain a little bit of weight, almost there.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like true heavyweights, but Ospreay gets hits with the double Kamigoye to eat the pin at the end. Unfortunately, I think Ospreay was the fall guy in this. He's not gunning for a title right now. He is in the tournament for the vacated junior title, so he can take the pin here. Ishii and Omega is coming up, actually in I think it's 4 hours here upon recording.
Wow.
Yeah, did you catch this this tag match?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately,
bummer. It's definitely something worth seeking out. Yeah, good stories here. Other stories that have been going on is Lij and Suzuki-gun are going at each other's throats. Naito is driving Minoru Suzuki insane, and it's quite funny. There's some good pictures online of Naito sitting in the ring with his back turned on a chair, and Minoru Suzuki's outside the ring with young lions holding him back as Suzuki has a guardrail. He's gonna throw it at him. It's quite funny. September 8th, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Juice Robinson versus Kazuchika Okada and Trent Beretta. Trent Beretta's back. The partner of Chucky T, so they're getting ready for for that tag tournament coming back. It's good to see Beretta back in New Japan, honestly. I'm a fan of his. You know, he's a good mid-card type guy. I don't think he's prime for major success, but he definitely knows his place. He looks the part. I think he was in the him and Chucky was in the gimmick battle royal, the over budget battle royal, I believe. They were the best friends. They got chucked out by Bully Ray. Yeah, it did happen. So Beretta's been out of New Japan since February of 2018, so we haven't seen him for quite some time. Juice really shined in this tag match, to be honest, Rad, because Tanahashi seemed mostly absent throughout. I guess he's still kind of recovering from the G1 and whatnot. That, makes sense to me. Okada was naturally great. Story coming out of this is basically Tanahashi and Okada, they have their one-on-one coming up for the briefcase to Wrestle Kingdom. And it seems Beretta is, even though he's focused on tag team, he did say that that title Juice got around his shoulder looks quite nice.
Wow! So he's already throwing the challenge. Yeah,
well, Juice has to defend that title against 7 people coming up. Who answers the challenge remains to be seen, but there's a lot of possible story there. The match I do want to get into is the Ring of Honor match that happened recently. It's Jonathan Gresham against Jay Lethal in a 30-minute Iron Man match, their third encounter for the Ring of Honor title. I don't know if you've caught this, Rad, but it is quite good.
I gotta check it out.
I've already spoken on a number of occasions about how good their first 2 encounters were. With their limb work, selling, this match is no different. Straight technical affair of who is the best, with now the 2 matches under the belt. It really got me invested on this. This is on TV, no less. Not a pay-per-view, not Final Battle or anything. I thought that's what they were kind of building towards, something like that. The entire match is Gresham working Lethal's arm, and Lethal working Gresham's leg. The entire match. They go 25 minutes until someone gets a fall.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So not like Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, where they get 6 falls in 4
minutes.
Yeah,
it's 7-7 or something. Yeah. It's
both sell the work, tell a fantastic story as well. Grisham actually got the first fall, making Lethal tap out to the octopus stretch, of all things. It is his finisher, but it's no less still surprising to see that kind of move get over in 2018. You know what I mean, Rad?
Of course.
That's like someone like getting pinned off a Russian leg sweep, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's just a random maneuver.
I'm like, oh, okay, sure. In a panic, Lethal breaks his technical work, beats down Grisham until eventually get him into the figure four, causing Grisham to devastatingly tap out with 90 seconds left. And we even had commentary going, oh my god, run away from him for like the next 2 minutes, because there was only 5 minutes left in the match. Just run away.
Yeah.
But you couldn't escape Lethal's beatdown. Both beat each other down to the final buzzer. Grisham, frustrated, calls out Lethal, saying this was about who was the best and a tie won't work. So, I would have actually been okay with this in a draw, to be honest, even though the crowd hates draws. Every crowd hates a draw.
Every crowd hates a draw.
Yeah, but for the sake of like continuing it, and then I started thinking about it. I go, okay, well, maybe it's not the end of the world because Grisham did get that first fall. If it was a regular match, then he would have won. So they can play off that rather than nothing at all. But Lethal calls for the bell, 5 minutes sudden death, and the heat is immediately turned up to a frenzy level. No more technical work, they're just beating each other up again. Eventually, after a few hot exchanges, Lethal hits the lethal injection for 1, 2, 3. Devastating finish for Grisham, obviously, but the dude's been killing it on the indie scene. I was catching up with some progress shows from the Coast to Coast tour. I went to the Boston show, but all the other ones, obviously, I didn't get to New York, Seattle, Philadelphia. But Gresham was teaming up with Chris Brooks and CCK, and he had one of the best tag matches of the year against LAX in New York, in the New York show. 100% recommend that match. It is utterly fantastic. Tag team wrestling at its finest. So seek that shit out.
Nice, will do.
So Gresham killing it. Good 30-minute Iron Man match. We got WWE to talk about as I play Undertaker's drop. Alrighty. Brad, I got some topics here, and
awesome.
Sorry it's not on the agenda, so I'm just gonna have to ask you the questions. I added them later.
Yeah, no worries. We'll improvise.
Yeah, well, honestly, not much to talk about WWE right now. I mean,
no, there isn't. I think we only agree that there's only 2 matches worth noting.
Oh my god, NXT has been 2/3 filler a whole lot lately, especially with the squash matches. It seems like a summer squash matches every time I turn around. Do I really need to be seeing Lars Sullivan and Shayna Baszler put down no-name talent right now? At this point?
Nah, they're just doing filler episodes.
Like Christ.
Yeah.
Like I get it. I get it's you need to build something, but I know Lars Sullivan's a killer. I know Shayna Baszler's gonna make, hurt people and make them tap out.
Mm-hmm.
So, decent enough main events in NXT, but the lead up to it is so nothing. I don't need to watch it. Regal's been interviewing anybody who's had anything to do with Aleister Black going down. I figured they'd have this shit worked out already, to be honest. So, any thoughts on NXT? Because I don't really have any other than that.
No, nothing worth noting at this point. To be honest, I don't really follow the weekly program. I will maybe catch a couple of matches here and there, but usually I just tend to pay attention to the TakeOver pay-per-views.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give Travis Hibiki TMD some credit on this because he's like, is NXT like kind of faltering? And yeah, I have to agree with him. They have all the talent in the world right now. They're oversaturated with talent, including the main roster, and they don't know what to do with them all. And they're not even putting them in matches. It's just squash matches for the couple guys that want to get over at the time.
They probably have new bookers, or there's more influence now coming from
the main roster.
Yeah, I'm talking about maybe McMahon and his men and their shenanigans. So I don't know. Maybe that's already starting to trickle into NXT. That would be bad.
That might be.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be totally unfortunate because I think NXT gives us that, for the fans that like the indie wrestling style, I think NXT provides that, and that's something we obviously can't get from Raw or SmackDown. And if NXT is already going to go down the same path of being booked like the way they have been recently, it might hurt the product. It'd
be devastating, especially it's going to Fox too. Come 2019 in January, I believe.
Yeah, you see, I mean, at first I was like, you know what, that's so cool because we're gonna get it like on live TV and whatnot. But these are signs of things to come, and I think they're gonna start going towards the the political type of show.
I think so as well, and I'm not liking where we're heading. We still have NXT UK, but that's
Triple H needs to take over.
Yeah, 205 Live has been putting on some good matches, but even then, it seems like there's one squash per show. And I got a comment here in the live chat here. Wrestling is so bad these days. No, WWE is bad these days.
Yeah, totally.
We just spoke about how Ring of Honor's kind of killing it right now. They just put on a 30-minute Iron Man match. New Japan's killing it. The indie scene is on fire. All In just happened. It's just WWE, to be clear. Although Evolve has been gutted so bad with their talent gone, that's rough to watch. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with
another thing WWE's doing as well, plucking talent from over there.
Yeah. So, but 205 Live, I've actually been watching Akira Tozawa. He's looking great. They got Leo Rush, being the character of the show. Drew Gulak being the killer technical guy. I am definitely tired of Cedric Alexander's reign, though. He doesn't do much for me.
No, man, just the name alone screams boredom for me. Just another one of the many reasons why I don't even bother with 205 Live. But I know it has its moments, especially as of late.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy Murphy and Grand Metalik are definitely my two highlights, and Akira Tozawa. And, the talent's definitely there. I think they're definitely suffering from overexposure and repeat booking because there's just not a lot of variety on 205 Live. I did read that they're thinking about taking 205 Live back to Full Sail or to Full Sail and not having it with SmackDown anymore.
Oh, okay.
And if that's the case, then maybe we can start getting some crossover there. And I think I've mentioned that on the podcast a couple times in the past. To have someone like a Roderick Strong, a Johnny Gargano to breathe some life into 205 Live.
Yeah.
I also think 205 Live suffers from not having, their their showing on a pay-per-view of any kind. I think it hurts. Seeing it on the pre-show of SummerSlam, it was there. It was nice to see, but they're not given any platform to shine what the show is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the show. It falls into that world of sport wrestling nonsense where it's like, okay, I got 30 minutes to kill. What am I going to watch? You're not going to get a good wrestling match out of that. But anyways, thoughts on the upcoming Hell in a Cell, Rad, in particular?
Sure. In particular, I would have to say I'm actually only interested in two matches. I think we both agree on this. I guess I'll go ahead and start with the first one. That's AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. AJ Styles will be defending the championship in a singles match at Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship.
I noticed it just doesn't make any
sense.
Something.
The wrong matches are inside the cell here, and the ones that actually have a grudge that people are invested in aren't. That just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what the hell, what they're thinking, but if any two individuals should have been in Hell in a Cell, definitely AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. They already have the history behind them. I think we discussed on one of the last podcasts on how the buildup is stemming from anybody that has been watching these two guys for years. Definitely getting personal. Samoa Joe playing the role of a heel perfectly, getting underneath AJ Styles' skin by mentioning his family, his wife, his daughter, things like that. He just so good. AJ Styles playing the role of the father and husband that wants to protect his family's legacy. as would any individual do. So this is just, it has that realism. The grudge is there. The history is there. Perfect storytelling, regardless of any results that took place at SummerSlam and after. It's all build up, and I'm invested in this rivalry. I fucking love it. I think it's fantastic, but unfortunately, at Hell in a Cell, it is only a regular singles match for the WWE Championship. So, you tell me if there was a perfect ground for them to actually, have some sort of climax. Hell in a Cell. I don't know what WWE's thinking these days. But either way,
you know what this tells me? Because it's not in Hell in a Cell.
What's that?
We're gonna get 4 more of these matches.
Yeah, that's true, and hopefully not too much, because I think by then the fans will, get tired of it. But I think they can go maybe about 1 or 2 more times where the fans will definitely be invested. I know I will.
I only see a DQ finishing happening with this match.
Yeah, I definitely see that happening at this pay-per-view.
I see Joe this time getting the DQ on Styles, and then Paige will be like, "There's 1 more match," and then it'll be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And
right, it's gonna be like the SmackDown right after Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and the winner will get to choose the stipulation for the Super Showdown or something. That's what I see.
I think WWE too well. I have to agree with that. That's definitely how it's gonna go down, unfortunately. But regardless, I'm pretty sure these guys are definitely gonna give us one hell of a performance. So if there's a match that I'm definitely just going to see, it would be that. That was pretty much my main event at SummerSlam. Then I ended up tuning out. So that's what I care for right now. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe going at it for the WWE Championship.
You basically said what I think as well. There is Jeff Hardy against Randy Orton in the Cell. I think that's just like a here you go to Jeff Hardy. He's always wanted to be in Hell in a Cell. He was always wanted to jump off the cell in some way. I guarantee it. We're gonna see that.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna be the final spot.
Okay. I just hate seeing these mid-card titles get. WWE literally just put out an article, I think today, of the revitalization of the Intercontinental title, and of course they put Roman Reigns' name first, and I was like, when did he fucking have it? Oh my god, this year? And then The Miz and Ziggler have had it, and Rollins, has the stereotypical open challenge nonsense. We're not seeing the Intercontinental title or the US title on the show. Period. So what revitalization is there? Because we saw it a couple times on the weekly TV show? Get off.
Yeah.
It irritates me because the mid card.
It's fake history. That's just what they keep doing. They just rewrite it in their vision, and the fans know the truth.
Rad, you know me. The IC title is my favorite belt of all time, and now I'm gravitating towards the IC belt in Japan as my favorite belt of all time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rewrite my own history. Go, Bret Hart had that belt the whole time. So did Mr. Perfect. Forget it. But the Miz, I've read articles on the Miz's take on the mid card belt, because he is the epitome of the worker, the mid card heel guy, to get it over and make it feel important. What he felt over the years was the belt can't get over because every time you keep putting the belt on a heel, and then they lose all the time when they have that belt. And what did we see when Ziggler and Miz had the IC title just this year? They lost every time. Yeah. Every time there was a match on TV, they lost. So that's my frustration as a fan of those belts. Nakamura clearly has the belt just to shut fans up. We've barely seen him on TV. He's a third wheel at best in anything. Don't even get me started on what they've done to Asuka. I've totally blown a gasket on that.
Yeah.
But speaking of women, Charlotte and Becky Lynch, women's title build. Thoughts, Rad? I'm sure you're excited for this match.
Oh, hell yeah. Fucking fantastic build up. Everybody was, so afraid, as you and I were, heading into SummerSlam originally, knowing that Charlotte would win the championship. But the payoff in the end was the so-called, and I quote, heel turn for Becky Lynch.
Oh, they're sure
as far as I'm concerned, yeah, they're sure trying. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's really worked well. I think it's elevated Becky Lynch on another level. I'm a fan of this new badass Becky Lynch, if you will. holy crap, man, I just fucking love her. And right now, I'm just totally invested. I'm right behind her, supporting her still, as I have been since day one. I just really love what they're doing with her character, regardless if she's not the champion or not. I just think no, regardless if she's the champion or not, I think what they're doing with her right now is freaking fantastic. Where we go from here, I don't know. Let's hope that it doesn't end up with Charlotte winning. I think we pretty much know how WWE books these days. But
I have zero doubt in my mind Charlotte is walking out.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
She is 100% walking out with that title with me, because they don't want Lynch to get over. They want her to be a heel.
She's freaking over, even as a heel right now. And like I said, she's coming off as a badass character. This is what people like to see. Beck's 316, if you will. We the fans are just eating it all up, and we love it. Everybody loves Becky Lynch. The things that she's been doing has been badass TV. If there's moments nowadays, and it's very rare that a moment draw me in, like, holy shit, that was so cool, that makes me feel like a kid again. Becky Lynch is pulling it off, and what she pulled off in this last episode of SmackDown, Charlotte went in for like a selfie with the fans and unexpectedly got attacked by what seemed to be a fan at first. This person jumps over the rail, pulls over, wig, takes off the glasses, reveals herself to be Becky Lynch. That was freaking awesome. I loved it. A huge fan of the girl, and right now, male or female, I have to say Becky Lynch is like my absolute favorite wrestler right now. She's just really nailing it.
Between her and Samoa Joe, the booking and story they want to write isn't working, and I find it absolutely hysterical, because they give Samoa Joe, a story time book to read, and the way Joe presents it, and his character work, and how and his demeanor in it all makes this stupid fucking gimmick and story of this children's book, and him, like, even him ending with the little poem at the end where he's gonna take Styles' family away. I go, that is fucking stupid. But because Samoa Joe is like, and I will have Wendy as mine. he's like this overbearing villain. And I was like, good. Yeah. Samoa Joe can do it, much like how Kevin Owens can make things work. Well, except what they made him do on Monday after the I Quit angle went 100% nowhere. God, what a fucking thing. But yeah, they don't want Lynch to get over either, because they want her as just the stereotypical heel character. So they had Charlotte, and they want Charlotte over as a babyface so bad. Oh God, do they want that to happen? It's Roman level. Almost. It's getting there. Rad.
Yeah, it is. And that's unfortunate for Charlotte, because again, I have a lot of respect for her. She's one of my favorite women's wrestlers today. I still think she's one of the greatest women's wrestlers of the modern era, but I think they're really messing it up by doing this whole thing that they're pulling up. They just don't know how to book right. And you can tell it's the Roman Reigns, John Cena scenario, and it's happening to Charlotte, and that's
with her.
That's bad.
And it's making me sick, because they had her specifically go over to these two kids in the audience and take the selfie with her, and then if you notice, they let the fans like have the little immediate reaction, but as soon as they start hearing the cheers, audio's cut, and they pipe in only like these tiny little boos, right? So they want Charlotte to get over, and they want Lynch to not get over at all.
They still haven't learned their lesson, man.
Oh my God. It's like history is just repeating itself. I'm like, just let them do it. Like, it's okay to, like, don't tell the fans who to root for and who to boo. Just let it happen.
Which makes me think that when Vince McMahon originally launched the Attitude Era, telling the fans that take your prayers, say your prayers, take your vitamins, that was considered, passe, and that we needed a new product and whatnot. It was all bullshit. He just did it to get his ratings over. Ted Turner's WCW, and once that went out of the window, he went right back to his, political way of thinking. And
100%.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, what happened to those times where we were able to choose who we wanted to, cheer and boo, and let Stone Cold do what he wanted because the fans were buying into it. Let The Rock be a heel because the fans are buying into that. No, it's like it just doesn't they don't do it anymore. They need to allow the fans, give them the freedom to cheer and boo who they want. And this is a perfect example of that. Instead of, catching the ball and running with it, it's like they just totally keep going against it. And it didn't work with Roman Reigns. It's not going to work with Charlotte.
It's not going to work with Charlotte. And we're seeing it happen right now. We saw it at the turn where Becky beat the fuck out of her at SummerSlam, and everyone cheered Charlotte get the shit kicked out of her.
Yep.
It's like, that's the story you built.
Been happening. It's like every SmackDown has been happening. Lynch is getting the best of Charlotte, and people are cheering for that. And this past time, instead of making Becky Lynch look as somebody you want to hate, she came off as looking as a badass character. Like, who doesn't want to be that cool?
Exactly. But, and it's Lynch's facial expressions and swagger that's pulling it off.
Fuck yeah, dude. She really pulls it off well. I just never thought that I'd be a fan of somebody this much in the modern era, other than AJ Styles, and Becky Lynch is up there, male or female. She's definitely my favorite wrestler right now.
Yeah. Just some thoughts here. If you're gonna extend these two feuds and it looks 100%, we're gonna get 4 more matches. You got to have the title changes.
Yeah. Because
they're the heels, and this is their shot.
I mean, why not? Continue the rivalry. Just roll with it.
Yeah, it's okay if the title changes hands, for Christ's sake.
What was it? You and I obviously were discussing this topic, before the podcast and in a little chat. I just can't remember if I read it somewhere or if you were the one that brought it up. But were you the one that mentioned that they might do a double turn and have Charlotte kind of turn on Becky and Becky remain the face? That wasn't you, right? I think I might have been discussing that with somebody else.
Yeah, no, that was me. There was hints to it, in the previous couple weeks.
Because I would say that might work,
it would 100% work.
Yeah.
You can have Lynch be a badass and be a face.
Yeah. Yeah, be that badass anti-hero, whatever. But just have her.
And you can have Charlotte as the prissy princess. That character works 100% with her. And it worked for Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Like father, like daughter. It is very much true in these two's cases. But after seeing Charlotte do the being booked to take selfies with the couple kids, and then them cutting the audio of the cheers for Lynch. yeah. They're. You know what? I take it back. They're not doing that. So, Hell in a Cell is on Sunday upon recording, and I won't be watching it live because I'm going to Beyond Wrestling. I'm going to an indie fucking show and getting my drink on, watching Jordan Grace, Thick Mama Pump take on the Machine, Brian Cage. Yeah. I'm watching some intergender wrestling instead. Okay. Well, this brings us to probably the best part of the cast. The main event, as we go into WCW Super Brawl 1998.
Excellent.
All right, Rad. I haven't watched this pay-per-view in 20 years. Over
That's
20
awesome,
years.
Man. I don't even think, I didn't get a chance to watch it in its entirety, so I haven't seen it in 20 years, but I remember it very well because of the amount of times that I watched it over and over again. I remember renting it even after it aired from Blockbuster, and I was a fan of this pay-per-view. I actually liked it. I think it was a solid, card top to bottom, and 2 matches in particular I remember it for, so.
Okay, well, I got the agenda here with notes included to jog your memory. Take us through the card.
Awesome. So here we are, WCW Super Brawl 1998, or Super Brawl 8, if you will. We had the opener for the pay-per-view. It was Booker T going up against Rick Martel for the TV Championship. Now, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, Rick Martel had just, returned. I know he had some work done in WWF. But now we were seeing him in WCW, and he was right at the top of the mid-card going up against Booker T for the TV Championship. Mm-hmm. Nothing really more to say about this match other than it was a decent match. I'm not sure if you were a fan of Rick Martel growing up, JD. But
I
he's
was a
definitely
fan of I was definitely a fan of the model and his little spray when he went to
I remember
WCW. I didn't mind him too much.
Leather jacket, the slick hair and whatnot.
Oh yeah, came off as like a Guido from Montreal.
Yeah. So
Did we say Guido?
pretty much...
I said Guido. Whatever.
I'll let you roll with it. It's your show.
Yeah.
So Booker T, comes out with a win, via Harlem sidekick over Martel, goes for a top rope double axe handle. Then Saturn, out of all people, hits the ring immediately for the next match.
Yeah,
so,
Booker T had to pull double duty here.
Yeah, double duty, super brawl. So now we had Saturn versus Booker T. So they battle. This match is back and forth. Apparently, Rick Martel tore his MCL during the match. So I don't know. Was that the reason why they probably brought out Perry Saturn?
No, Saturn,
I don't know the story behind that.
Saturn was booked to face the winner of this match going into it.
Okay, so it was going to go down either way.
It just so happened that I think this match was called early, hence what happened to Martel. Yeah, I did read that he tore his MCL during the middle of the match, and they just.
And now to think about it, I don't remember him doing much after this time. Like when I remember Rick Martel from the era of WCW, it's this pay-per-view, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he was hit with a lot of concussions, and then I think the MCL tear was kind of like the trigger to him to kind of call it a day.
Yeah.
Because an MCL tear, like that takes you out like what, 6 months?
Yeah, it's an injury that's a long time to recover from.
Yeah, especially in the 90s.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously, the doctors didn't have the technology they do now, so that would take even longer back then. And we didn't have the internet, so it's not like if we knew what was going on. It was just like, okay, you didn't see him on TV, unless the announcers announced it or whatever. But other than that, I don't remember seeing him more or less after this time frame, so that's probably the reason behind it. Yeah. But oddly enough, Booker T wins again with the Harlem sidekick. Obviously, his finisher.
Yeah, no spin up, as Tony Schiavone said on the Thunder episode. Wasn't called a spinning Runa yet. No scissor kick. No bookend. Haven't seen that yet. I'm waiting for it. I'm keeping my eye out.
Not yet. Yeah, he was actually. He was fresh in the singles run during this time frame. Because obviously all of his matches were always tag team Harlem Heat with his brother Stevie Ray. So this was definitely fresh for his career, and that's probably why we didn't see a lot of his moveset that we're used to now. But either way, Booker T was a hell of a performer already. I was a fan of his work at the time, and he looked like a damn good champ. He definitely had the look. He had the moves down. I like how you put here, they should push this guy. This is definitely where it started, the beginning of a singles run. So Booker T had it. 2 years later, he wins the championship, and very much deserved. But we'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there eventually in time. But yeah, they should definitely push this Booker T fella. I sense good things.
Yeah.
No, he looked great in this match. Everything he did was fine. He definitely had the cardio. He's very menacing, like build-wise. The crowd is behind him. Like, why not, right?
Well, that theme music.
Oh, yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Beginning to end. Never got rid of it. Well, I mean, he did have the King Booker music for a little while, but...
For a little while.
We did talk about that earlier.
Yeah.
So how about that next match, man?
Next up, we have La Parka versus Disco Inferno. Obviously, it seems like a Thunder match just thrown together. Crazy seeing La Parka do a corkscrew plancha over the top rope to the floor, considering that today Parka taunts throughout the match, and basically the match is all La Parka, does until he brings a chair in. You had Disco. Yeah, it's Disco Inferno, throws La Parka onto the chair from the top rope. Then we have a stunner. Inferno wins. So that's sad. I know you're quite the fan of La Parka revisiting these Thunder episodes. So
absolutely, I've grown such a new appreciation for La Parka.
Yeah,
because I don't really remember him from my childhood. I've said that before. I'm more familiar with him, in his AAA days now, where he just kind of flaunts about the ring the whole time.
No, he was really. Much of his work was done on Thunder, if not WCW Saturday nights. So I definitely remember him well. I saw a lot of his matches and very comedic later on. But again, if we're gonna continue doing these Thunder episodes, we'll get there when we get there. But
Sure.
Hilarious stuff. He stood out of all the luchadors. So definitely
absolutely, and for good
to
reason.
be in the spot he's at. Yeah.
There's a reason why him and Juventud are like the only ones left from the era. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I really like LaPark in this match. It's a shame he lost to fucking Disco Inferno of all people. So
I know, man. It's fucking Disco Inferno.
God damn.
King of the mid card at the time, I guess.
Oh God, I don't understand.
He was like on every
was.
show. We just saw that damn disco ball and whatnot.
I don't know what the obsession was with Disco Inferno. Like, I don't remember anybody liking him.
No, nobody liked him. Even when he was like a face, like nobody liked him.
All right.
But anyways, moving on over. Special non-announced match, and here we have Brad Armstrong going up against Goldberg. I wonder who wins in this match.
Yeah, no idea. Please. I wonder what happened.
So a good thing that this match took place. Obviously it was just to push Goldberg with the streak. Probably within seconds. He had a spear, jackhammer, you name it. All his matches were the same.
Yep.
But because Brad Armstrong was on this card, I will point out that I'm a fan of his, even though I believe he never was booked well. Had a lot of prestige in the Armstrong family. Brad Armstrong. Amazing performer, kick-ass music. So it was just good to see him on Super Bowl, even if he jobbed to Goldberg.
I think
one
Kevin
of these days
jobbed to Goldberg like 20 years later, anyways. So.
Yeah, either way. So one of these days, I think this guy, Brad Armstrong, JD, is deserving of the superstar spotlight that we do. So hopefully we can go and do that down the road, because I am a fan of Brad Armstrong. I liked his work in WCW.
All right, we might have to just do him next then. How about that?
Oh man, that'd be awesome. Totally be awesome. I think I already have a match in mind, so we'll do a little bit of research and see which pay-per-view it was.
Rewatch the Super Brawl with Goldberg stomp and
Armstrong
really
versus
break
Goldberg.
it down.
Oh man.
What'd you think about 15 seconds in when Goldberg's music hit and Brad Armstrong was like, "Oh, that's who I'm facing."
Yeah, we'll have to stretch that for 10 minutes.
God.
So next up, we have a mask versus title match: Juventud Guerrero versus Chris Jericho. Obviously, on the last podcast, the one that I was a part of, we touched base on the Thunder episode. So this is already a storyline that they've been working on. Jericho at first, refused to take the title off. Typical Jericho shenanigans. That was part of his character at the time. Loved it. He played the role of the villain, the heel, if you will, very well. Later, he tried playing possum outside to get counted out. Great exchanges and a clean, exchange for the most part. Jericho wins via his signature in WCW, the Lion Tamer. So I guess there's really nothing else to say about this match other than I think it was a great performance from the two superstars. They definitely had chemistry. And again, this is just continuing the storyline coming off of their program on Monday Nitro and WCW Thunder.
Yeah, well said. Both guys worked very well. I did like the little mask versus title thing. I think in Western wrestling, outside of Mexico, we don't get a lot of these kind of meaningful stipulations. I mean, in WXW, they just announced Jurn Simmons versus David Starr. Couldn't get it done in the Last Man Standing match, which I spoke earlier with Jay, covering that. They announced a hair versus hair match in Germany. So, that could work. I mean, we mentioned how, if they were going to do anything with the Baron Corbin Finn Balor rivalry, they could have had a hair versus hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Why not? Right?
Or even had maybe like a hair versus a makeup match. Granted that Finn Balor stayed with his demon gimmick. I don't know why they keep making him change it back and. But anyway, that's a different
changing
story.
Back and forth. It's like once a year. It's a SummerSlam only thing with Finn Balor.
Yeah, it's already become like an annual thing now. I just wish that they just let him roll with that demon entrance.
Nope. He's too small, mid Carter. He's not worth anything.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Damn WWE booking.
Yeah. No, I mean every time I've seen Jericho and even Juventud go at it on Thunder and in WCW, it always becomes like a match of the night type situation.
Definitely. Incredible performers.
Yeah, it was a very, very solid match. Jericho's all the character. Crowd was into it. good stuff. I liked the little lion tamer reversal that Jericho has perfected, even back in 1998. It's a shame he only had his one little run with the title in WWE.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd be the guy that would have multiple. So, how about that next match?
Yeah, moving on over, we have going up against the British Bulldog. So, the British Bulldog is fresh, here in WCW. It's a change of pace from what we were used to.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how he used to perform in the WWF. Mongo hits the post, Bulldog works the hand, and the ref calls the match. So Mongo is pretty much pissed that he didn't tap out, while the Bulldog didn't even celebrate, just immediately walks out. I don't know if this was kayfabe or part of the story or going back to Bulldog shenanigans while in WCW, but that's kind of weird.
I don't know. The match was over before it even started. It was all very strange to me. I'm like, what the because I was hyped with the little brawls that they did, but they didn't show anything on Thunder in the previous episode that we covered in the last podcast. There's just nothing to this. I didn't really. This was the only match on the card of the night that I just went.
Yeah, it's so
what
weird.
happened?
And I mean, at the time, Mongo McMichael, was a big name in WCW, and British Bulldog was, huge. The world knew who he was.
Yeah.
You'd think this match would be booked better, but I'm pretty sure, something, is going on backstage that we don't know about. Obviously, the internet was down at the time, so it is.
Yeah,
what it
that's my theory as well. Had to. Otherwise, there was no meaning for any of this. But anyways.
So moving on over to more meaningful match, and this is Diamond Dallas Page going up against Chris Benoit for the U.S. title. Obviously, these two wrestlers have been going at it in previous episodes of Thunder. There's definitely a program there, and it's always involving Raven as well. So the match starts out with mutual respect and seriousness, and that's one thing I liked about this rivalry is that they just had that respect for one another, because you had two faces going up against each other for the U.S. title.
This is how you book this. This is how you book two faces after each other. They both want the same thing, and they're serious about it.
The competition. So you had Benoit, obviously went technical, always known as a technical wrestler, and DDP more with his strikes. Both go for their finishers and then switch to a more brawling sense of a match. You have back and forth action. 13 minutes in, before even the first pinfall attempt that wasn't a roll-up, quite the reversal exchange, and then bam, Diamond Cutter out of nowhere. Diamond Dallas Page wins at 17 minutes. I think that's a perfect time for these two wrestlers. They were able to tell that story in the ring and show what they were all about. I was a fan of this rivalry, and I know you're a huge fan of both superstars as well.
Yep.
JD. So I would imagine this might have been, at least from a performance standpoint, your match of the night.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, I know you well. So yeah, so that was a good match. I was definitely a fan of that program. DDP, Chris Benoit, U.S. title, a lot of prestige behind that. So moving on over to a no DQ match between the Macho Man Randy Savage going up against Lex Luger. They kind of had like a brief program going on at the moment, building or stemming from what had been taking place on Monday Nitro and WCW Thunder. Luger had his ribs taped from the Thunder beatdown that happened prior. They walk around the ring for about 5 minutes with Randy Macho Man Savage punching Lex Luger. 5-minute mark, Lex Luger hulks up, ignoring the rib injury all of a sudden. And at the 7-minute mark, you have the NWO rush down. Pretty much the same formula that we would always see with these type of matches.
This was hot shit. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on here.
So, yeah, again, NWO shenanigans, Macho Man and Luger fight them off because right now Macho Man is kind of like the rebel. So he's really not affiliated with WCW or NWO, although he continues to come out with NWO music. One of my favorite things, because this was pretty much the beginning of the whole Wolfpack thing and Macho Man being on his own. So you had him fight him off. Then the bell rings. Obviously, the wrestlers never listen to that bell. They just totally disregard it. Luger immediately puts Savage in the torture rack. The bell rings again. Luger wins.
So this got real weird. I get the story that it was going for with the whole Macho Man slowly becoming a rebel of the group. The NWO led by Hogan kind of treating him shittily. Luger being the Roman Reigns of the situation. But Luger completely ignoring the rib injury as soon as, nowhere, be a Hulk Hogan style. And I gotta say, Rad, this is the way the match ends is such a clusterfuck because the NWO rushes down, right? Yeah. Both Macho Man and Luger fight them off, and then the bell rings. Like, they threw the match out, right? That's what it occurred to, like a double DQ situation, right?
Sure.
But then, Macho Man doesn't know like what happened because clearly that wasn't the finish that they wanted to do. They wanted Luger to go over. So then the ref like yells at Luger, like, do your thing. So he puts him in the rack again. Then the bell rings.
Oh, and that's why it's so confusing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's so weird.
I'm just like, what?
But now that makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy,
and
man.
Then you have then the camera cuts to Hogan. And he's like, "Good, I'm glad he lost."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the bell already rung. It means the match was out already. Like, it was a total panic situation at the end. Like, oh no, we fucked up.
yeah, they totally messed up. And I guess to fix it, they just told Luger to put him in the torture rack. And the rest is history.
But it did play on later in the night. So
yeah.
I want to talk about the next one.
Yeah, this is definitely the highlight. I think everybody remembers Super Brawl 8-4. Being that this is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time, this is probably the highlight moment. So
it finally happened.
If you want to go ahead and take it away.
You were teasing this with me because I didn't remember when it happened at all. I was like, oh my god, I know Scott Steiner turns, but when, where? Well, It was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders, defending their trying to get the tag titles back from the Steiner brothers, Scott and Rick. And almost immediately into the match, Steiners do some key little exchanges. They get into their whole Rick underneath Scott doing the doggy dog style, bow wow situation,
sure.
And Steiner just hits him. And I'm like, why, Scott? Why? Why did you turn on your brother?
As he stood there, it's like if the crowd was expecting it, and then like he gives like the crowd a wink, and then like he hits Rick Steiner. It was just perfectly done. I thought that was an amazing storyline. One of the reasons why I do like pay-per-view. Scott Steiner joining the NWO. Obviously, there was build-up, and we knew that he was having problems with his brother, but never did I think, as a kid watching this, that he would join the New World Order.
Oh no. Man. After so many years of seeing them as a tag team, like that's how if you want to make a tag team turn on each other, that's what made the Rockers, like Shawn Michaels turning on Jannetty in the barbershop, so iconic. That's what makes the Steiner brothers turn so iconic, is they were tag teams. They were a tag team for years.
Yeah.
And they built up the turn out of nowhere. They built it up and then it finally happened. You don't just have them be a team for like 6 months and then they turn.
Oh man, it was crazy. I was devastated, man. Like, even though I might have been like 13, I knew that, wrestling was a show, but just the fact that happened, I was like, why? And that's what I was an NWO fan, but it just like, it was like, perfectly put here on the agenda. Why, Scott? Why?
Yeah.
So it's just good stuff. And then suddenly we see him, come out the next night on Monday Nitro, and he's a completely different guy. Blonde hair, short. He has a dyed goatee. It's like, holy crap! Totally changed.
We'll get to White Thunder.
White Thunder.
I can't wait for that. That's a topic in itself. So the match actually didn't end in that moment. They threw Rick around a little bit. Rick kicked out a couple times, and then it finally went into Scott Hall doing the it wasn't called the Razor's Edge in WCW. What was it?
Edge.
Outsider's Edge.
Yeah.
And
if I'm not mistaken, I think Scott handed him over to Scott, for the I guess the final win so that they can get the championship.
Yeah. He helped. He put him kind of in the Outsider's Edge, and then he got outside the ring, and then looked at his brother taking the fall. And then the Outsiders win the tag titles back. So hooray! NWO for life.
yeah, NWO for life. Brand new member. Out of everybody that would join the NWO, you had some that didn't make any sense, and you had some that were just iconic. This was one of the iconic moments where it was like, holy crap, he joined the NWO. I think the only time I had that holy crap moment is when Kurt Hennig, pulled what he did at Fall Brawl War Games '97, just a couple of months earlier. So this was definitely one of those iconic moments. Awesome stuff.
Well, it definitely seems to be a theme now where every pay-per-view, at least 2 in a row now on this podcast, we got a new member of the New World Order.
New member. Yeah, I think the latest members, you had Dusty Rhodes, Louis Spicolli, now Scott Steiner.
And Scott Hall's the linchpin in it all, too.
Yeah.
So, take us into the main event, Rad.
The main event, highly anticipated main event, coming off of the shenanigans that happened at WCW Starrcade 1997, just 2 months prior. Obviously you had the main event, Hollywood Hulk Hogan defending the World Championship against Sting. Sting won in controversial circumstances. Then the title was vacated, and it remained vacated for a good while until these two superstars were officially signed under contract to compete at Super Brawl 8 in the rematch for the vacated World Championship. And this time it was promised that there would be no more shenanigans, that it would be one-on-one.
No more shenanigans, Rad. You heard it here.
Yeah. So here we had it. Sting going up against Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the vacated World Championship. Another match and another reason why Super Brawl 8 is one of my favorite pay-per-views. I was just totally invested in the storyline. Sting versus the NWO, one of my favorite storylines of all time. Perfect storytelling. And here we had the rematch of the century as it was billed. So decent showing of what you would expect from a Hogan match and Sting character work. Although I must say that their performance at Super Brawl was a lot better than their performance at Starrcade.
I would agree. I would agree 1,000% on that one.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
was so much better.
So much better. This is what Starrcade should have been, or this is what their match at Starrcade should have been. The match was stretched by pretty much hitting their moves. At one point, Hulk Hogan pulls the ref in front of him during a Stinger splash.
I quite
so that was
like
pretty
that spot.
funny.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was Nick Patrick, wasn't it?
No, not yet.
It was not yet. Okay.
Earlier in the night, Nick Patrick was reinstated.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, I do remember that. Yeah. So here we had that ref go out, and here comes Nick Patrick. He's back and he's calling the match right down the middle. He's promising.
He's an NWO guy. What is this nonsense? Nick Patrick isn't supposed to be doing that.
Just a year prior, it's like people still didn't trust Nick Patrick anyway. But here it was, and he really was a man of his. Called the match right down the middle. You had the NWO come out at one point. They try to interfere in the match, as always. Typical formula of these matches. Sting goes for a Scorpion Death Drop, and on the way down, Hulk Hogan pretty much nut shots the ref. NWO is already out, so Sting is fending them off. Then here comes Macho Man Randy Savage, continuing the anti-NWO Rebel storyline that's counter going on beside this Sting versus Hogan rivalry. So he pretty much clocks Hogan with a heavy can of spray paint. So Sting gets the match done, pinfall 1, 2, 3, new world champion, and this time he gives the NWO a taste of their own medicine, and he spray paints WCW across the chest of Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Yeah. So here we have it. Sting, brand new champion. I was definitely happy for that. I was a huge Sting fan growing up, still am. My favorite wrestler of all time, and he finally got the world championship the right way.
So you know how Hogan, as he was going down with the Scorpion Death drop, and he kind of kicks the ref in the nuts a little bit, kind of taps him with his foot. With Jay, I just spoke about the Absolute Andy versus Zack Sabre Jr. match for the WXW title, and as Andy was going down into a submission hold of Zack Sabre Jr.'s, he nutshot the ref in the exact same way Hogan did. So I saw those two matches almost back to back, and I'm just like, callback.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, and Andy has that character where he likes ripping off moves from famous wrestlers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wonder if he saw like this maneuver and he's like, I'm gonna do it in this match.
Yeah, he probably rewatched Super Brawl 8 as well. That's funny.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't put it past Andy, like, having watched that many wrestlers and taking note of the heel work that was done. Because that's something Chris Jericho, like, that's where he gets a lot of his character work from, is taking inspiration from a lot of the wrestlers of the past.
Right.
So I'm wondering if Andy is that same type of guy. Never met the guy, never got to speak to him like I did Walter. So,
well, next time you got to ask him.
Yeah, if I ever go to another WXW show and talk to him.
Yeah, what do you think of Super Brawl 8?
Hey, what? Absolute Andy here. Was denkst du von Super Bowl 8 in no, and be like, oh yeah, I fucking totally do that. Yeah, I stole that from Hogan. It's like, I knew it.
Yeah.
I absolutely had a good time watching this pay-per-view. Rad Super Bowl 98 was so much better after the heavily disappointing Sold Out pay-per-view that we covered before.
Yeah, and Sold Out already had the reputation of not being a good pay-per-view either way, so it's kind of just like one of those filler pay-per-views. So you had Starrcade, and the true match or the true pay-per-view right after would probably have been this one, Super Brawl.
Well, the next one we're leading up to is Uncensored, I believe.
Uncensored, yeah, 98, and Scott Hall, who was the winner of the 60-man 3-ring battle royal at World War III, earned a title shot. So this is where he actually gets to face Sting for the World Championship.
Well, there you go. About damn time for the bad guy.
For the bad guy.
I'm looking forward to that, but we got an episode of Thunder to cover before that, or 2 or 3, and White Thunder makes his appearance.
Yeah.
I've already watched that episode, if you couldn't tell.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Because right after Super Brawl, I had to watch the Fallout. I had to. It was like, it just needed to happen. I was not disappointed. There's a little cliffhanger for you. So yeah, just that wacky, stupid finish from Savage Luger, and the British Bulldog Mondo McMichael match are my only 2 complaints. Everything else,
pretty solid.
I mean, that's it. I would have had La Parka win personally, but that's just me,
Yeah.
But good stuff. Super Brawl. This is why I'm a wrestling fan. That's why I was a wrestling fan in the '90s. It brought back a lot of memories. It all came screaming back. And I'm like, I love this shit. Especially, they should really book that Booker T guy down the road. They should do that. So
it only took him 2 years and a Vince Russo shoot at Bash at the Beach to have him become champion. Yeah.
Oh God. Well, I have an updated wrestlers of the podcast.
Intrigued to hear
who
them.
are the top 10. So, working backwards from the women. Number 10, Nicole Savoy.
I'm hoping that my girl is on here.
Oh, see, she hasn't wrestled at all. Rad.
Okay. So you're basing it on matches. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a couple decent character appearances, but if she would have put down Billie Kay, maybe she would have cracked the list. No, Rad. It's the Mae Young Classic and the 5-star Grand Prix. And it's really tough to get on this list. I'll be honest with you. Like, I wanted Melanie Gray on the list because she won the women's title in surprising fashion, but character work just you need to do a little bit more. So Nicole Savoy is killing it in the 5-star Grand Prix, and that only puts her at the number 10 spot. Eva Lise put on a fantastic intergender match in Lucha Underground. Tessa Blanchard is the new title holder, successfully defended against Su Yung. Tessa Blanchard won a triple threat to get that title, by the way. Sevens Kagetsu, killing it. 13. Main eventing just about every 5-star event. Number 6, Meiko Satomura for her first round match with Killer Kelly. That brings me to number 5, which is Killer Kelly, first round matchup. Plus, she won the Fatal 4-Way. I think it was a Fatal 4-Way. No, she won the triple threat number 1 contenders match for the women's title match against Alpha Female. She won that as well. 4 is the super rookie Utami in Stardom. Rad, if you haven't seeked out a video of Utami, it's happening. Like, you got to do it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. I've said this before. Ronda Rousey ain't got shit on what Utami's doing as a rookie wrestler.
Yeah. I've seen her perform before, but I haven't seen any of her one-on-one matches or anything like that.
3 is Momo Watanabe. She kicks the shit out of people. 2 is Hazuki. She went to a 15-minute draw against Momo Watanabe in the most recent 5-star Grand Prix showing, which was really good. And number 1 is Jungle Kiona, probably the MVP of the 5-star Grand Prix. She did 2 straight 15-minute draws. Just quite the sight to see. Going on to our Tier 3 indie wrestlers, 10 is Ishikawa from his All Japan match. 9 is Walter. Not only did I watched that Ospreay one, but he's been in a bunch of ring comp tag team matches that have just been killing it. 8 is Go Shiozaki from Noah. 7, Ilya Dragunov from WXW. 6, David Starr. 5, Bobby Guns. You know, I like putting him on there. 4 is LAX, the tag team. Like, holy crap, they've been killing it. 3 is Absolute Andy. 2 great title defenses. 2 Marufuji and 1 Sugiura. So I don't think those should come as any surprise. As for the New Japan Ring of Honor guys in Tier 2, 10, this was pretty hard because it was kind of slim pickings, to be honest. Basically, whoever kind of outshined their position. 10 is Beretta, 9 Okada, 8 Omega, 7 Juice Robinson, 6 Ibushi, 5 Ospreay, 4 Ishii, 3 Zack Sabre Jr., 2 Jay Lethal, and 1 Jonathan Gresham. Jay Lethal's back on the list. Haven't seen him in the 10 for a while.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was ahead of the pack for a good chunk of the year too.
Yeah.
WWE again, really picking because fuck the squash matches and just nothing happened. It's a lot of 205 Live, to be honest, because they've actually been wrestling. 10 Almas, 9 Drew Gulak, 8 Buddy Murphy, 7 Cedric Alexander, 6 Johnny Gargano for his match with Velveteen Dream, main event NXT. That was quite good. 5 TJ Perkins, 4 Tony Nese, 3 Grand Metalik, 2 Velveteen Dream, there he is, and 1 Hideo Itami. I mean, he did face Marufuji in a 34-minute match, so
sure.
It was good.
Yeah, why not be at the top of the list?
I wish I could have put Almas higher, but it's like his TV matches are being, I don't know, they're just not coming off the right way of what Almas is capable of. Like, he's hitting his key moves, Rad, but again, he's losing. He's not winning anything. He keeps being put in situations just to be put down because he's not involved in the story. So then why put him in the story? Why try?
Yeah.
It just I don't know. That's WWE booking. It's just rubbing me the wrong way. I would like to have Daniel Bryan and The Miz on there. I would like to have, even a Roman Reigns or a Finn Balor, but they don't wrestle. And the character work is bad. I almost would have been higher if they didn't have him speak on SmackDown when he has a manager that speaks for him. I don't get it. So it's reasons like that. But 205 Live, they've had their matches. They've had the character work. To me, it's the best WWE programming right now since August, and that's not good. And I like a lot of the wrestlers on 205 Live too.
Sure.
So, but yeah, as always, follow me on Twitter at BowlingJD, Red Leaf Retrocast, and I will post the updated overall standings for you guys. Definitely follow us all on social media, Rad Zero, BowlingJD. Go check out the podcast YouTube page, Red Leaf Retrocast, where you can find all the live streams and any Let's Plays. I played the first 2 hours of Shadow of the Tomb Raider on stream, so you guys can check that out and look forward to any thoughts, be it anime, gaming, wrestling, here on Red Leaf Retrocast, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher. If you want to support the podcast, the best way is to head on over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a review and subscribe to any outlets that you are on. So, this has been the Wrestlecast, episode 12. Rad, thank you so much for joining me for Super Brawl 8 and all this nonsense we get to look forward to in the future.
Right on.
Alrighty. All done. Ooh. What do we clock in at? 2:36 plus an hour of WXW. So perfect.
Perfect.
I like this recording something separately, so we're not here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
2:36. Not bad. Oh, fun episode. Super Brawl 8 was fun to talk about.
Yeah, that was. Totally takes me back.
All right. So you want to do Brad Armstrong next episode?
Yeah, we'll definitely do Brad Armstrong. Hang on though, JD. I'm getting a notification from Audacity saying recorded audio was lost at the label locations.
The label locations.
See, possible causes. Other applications are competing with Audacity for processor time. You're saving directly to a slow external storage device. Ah, that sucks. Let me see how much I have.
Well, you can just straight export it.
Yeah, I'm still gonna export it. It said it highlighted it. I just don't know where they are, and I don't want to mess with this right now. Let me just save it.
Well, just in case, I do have a backup recording of this in case it messes up. So
of both audios.
Yes, so nothing to worry about there. Nothing to stress out about. This is exactly why we have both of us record.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Either way, it works. Yeah, I'm already exporting it. But yeah, man, Brad Armstrong sounds good for the next episode. Like I said, I legitimately really liked Brad Armstrong, and it's a shame that he's no longer with us, and I think he fits the mold of a perfect spotlight to do. So
okay, all right,
that should be fun. I'll try to think of a match.
Yeah, think of two, man, because I've been picking the matches lately.
Okay, I'll put together two of them.
Brad Armstrong. There we go.
I think I have one in particular. I mean, for sure. And I don't know if you remember his rivalry with Berlin, who was formerly known as Alex Wright, Halloween Havoc '99. They kind of had like a USA versus Germany type of thing going on.
I remember Alex Wright.
Yeah. So I think that definitely should be one. That's the one that I had in mind. Halloween Havoc '99. I think Berlin was messing with somebody, and Brad Armstrong grabbed him by like his rich coat and said, "Hey, you're in America, boy." And he just kind of
of course he did.
So yeah. So that's probably one of his highlights, at least in the later '90s, and maybe something a little bit more old school. But definitely that match I'd like to put on there.
All right. Yeah. Halloween Havoc. Okay. Cool.
Unless that's where it started. I have to find out. Maybe it might have been at Mayhem. If I'm mistaken. No, but it had to have been at Halloween Havoc. Yeah, it definitely was. I know it because I have that Halloween Havoc recorded on VHS, and I remember seeing them too go at it. So,
well, in other news, I got all of my wrestling DVDs in that I ordered.
Oh, that's awesome, dude! How many were there?
There were there was like 15 I got. 15 for $100. That was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, and because like I said, I still collect DVDs myself, but recently I hit up the local Second and Charles. It's like a used book DVD game store. And where are they? I know I have a stack somewhere here. Oh yeah, so one of them was WrestleMania 2000. Obviously, shit pay-per-view, but the DVD is quite like the jewel to have in your collection because it's like hard to find, and it usually goes for like 50 and up, and I found it for like about $15. So I took it, and then like I got a bunch of cheap ones. I got let's see, Survivor Series 2002 for the first Elimination Chamber.
Oh, that's cool. I like that one.
Yeah. ECW One Night Stand 06 for the Cena RVD main event where everybody booed the shit out of Cena.
Yeah, everyone booed
they
the shit out of him.
They threw his shirt back and everything.
I remember the shirt thing.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Right in the height of Super Cena in Philadelphia, wasn't having that.
Yeah. Royal Rumble 2006. That's when Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble for Eddie Guerrero's death. And No Mercy 2001 at the height and the peak of the Invasion angle. I think it was Kurt Angle versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's another hard DVD to find as well.
The Invasion angle's still about WWF guys.
Yeah, still about WWF guys. So, yeah, those are the ones I recently picked up, but I definitely want to get all in if that's ever released.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Let's see. Let me pull what I got here. Hold on.
Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, here we have it. It was Halloween 1998. Brad Armstrong defeated Berlin, and Berlin was accompanied to the ring by The Wall.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was a singles match, 4 minutes and 23 seconds.
All right, so I got obviously a bunch of indie stuff because I have some WCW pay-per-views from like the early and mid 90s, but I'm trying to get a bunch of like different things, you know?
Indie stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So I got Joshi Mania from Chikara Night 2 and 3. Because night 1 of those like 3-day pay-per-views are never all that good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good to watch like in the moment, and then you don't need to, because it's always 2 and 3 that build better. So that has Ayako Hamada versus Aja Kong, Sarah Del Rey, the current trainer in NXT for women. She's the one that trained Bailey and Banks and all them. Manami Toyota is in a tag match. So, and then Sarah Del Rey against Ayako Hamada. Let's see. Mio Shirai, Aja Kong, and Kuragaki are in a match. So, Chikara's weird. It's got like superhero characters, but they had this Joshi Mania that I've always wanted to watch, and it has a lot of famous Japanese women in it.
Yeah.
So, and then I got some WXW DVDs. So I got 16th Anniversary from 2016, the end of 2016. I've never seen it. But it's got Jurn Simmons versus Adam Cole versus Marty Scurll for the WXW title in a triple threat match. It's got the famous no, that's not the one I'm thinking of. It's got a fatal 4-way for the mid-card title. DeMac versus Chris Brooks versus Pete Dunne versus David Starr.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Mustache Mountain against Chris Brooks and Pete Dunne in a warm-up match. So,
hey, speaking of which, what was the name of the pay-per-view? I guess it was the first WXW show you had showed me.
16
they had
gold.
What was that the one? Okay, is that the one you picked up?
I mean, I didn't get that particular one on DVD. I got the 16 karat gold from 2017 because that's what got me into WXW like full time, and not just like checking in every now and again.
Sure.
Because the 2017 one has Matt Riddle versus Walter, David Starr versus Jurn Simmons. That's where that rivalry sort of started. Cody Rhodes is in that match as well. Got a crazy tag match. Got Axel Dieter Jr. against Jurn Simmons for the title. Paul London, ACH, is there.
Paul London.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, he's in Lucha Underground with like a Mad Hatter type persona.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I got a bunch of Ring of Honor DVDs. Because they went on huge sale.
Oh man, I freaking missed it. I would like to load it up on some of Adam Cole's Bullet Club run.
Oh, did I get any of that? I don't think I have any Young Bucks stuff in here, but let's
Holy
see.
shit! Speaking of Brad Armstrong, Travis just tagged us on Twitter. With like, I guess like it's like an old school card or something. I don't know. Maybe he was listening to our podcast or what.
Oh, he was there in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he listened for like 15 minutes or something. As we were talking about Finlay, that's when he was in. But let's see. I got ROH Year 5 and Year 6 compilation. So it's like their best matches from way back then because they don't sell their DVDs from like past 2013 anymore.
Yeah.
But it's got like AJ Styles, Matt Sydal, Kings of Wrestling, that's Cesaro and Chris Hero against Daniels and Sydal, Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe for the title and a steel cage, that kind of stuff. They had Noah come over, so you have like Nigel McGuinness against Itami. Kento and Marufuji versus the Briscoes, like I had to hop on it.
Yeah, big time. That's a good one to have.
I got Dragon's Reign from 2013. That focuses on the Red Dragons, kind of a mark for them.
Nice.
That's the main event against the Briscoes. I love the Briscoes as a tag team. Shitty people, but whatever. Triple threat match, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole. Kevin Steen is in it. Champ is in it. So that's good. Adam Cole, A New Dawn. That's when, that's the one where Adam Cole defends the title against the Honor Rumble winner. Yeah. I mean, these DVDs were like $2. So.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I totally missed out on that sale. What was it, like a Labor Day sale?
Yeah, it was the Labor Day sale.
Okay.
Let's see here. Kevin Steen versus ACH. Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong in a no DQ, no countout match. Red Dragon.
The one I've been wanting to pick up is the Gail Kim collection from TNA, but I'm waiting for like a sale.
It's sold out too. You can't get it.
Yeah. Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man, don't tell me I missed my boat on that. Holy shit. Let's see.
Like I missed it too.
I'm hoping maybe that was just the autographed copy or something.
Yeah. I got a bunch from like 2014 and 15. Let's see here. I got Raising the Bar, Night 2 specifically, because that has what brought me to this one. This is Adam Cole versus Chris Hero in the main event. And
nice.
And then the Red Dragons versus the Young Bucks. It's the Ring of Honor tag champs against the IWGP tag champs.
Yeah, it's still here, JD. I think the one that sold out was the autographed version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna pick up this
Mike Bennett.
just in case.
Let's see. I got Flying High. That's with Chris Hero and AJ Styles, I believe. Briscoes versus the team of Cole and Bennett. Yeah, that was with the Kingdom. That was when Cole was still with the Kingdom. Yeah, AJ Styles against Chris Hero. Ciampa versus Matt Taven. Kevin Steen versus Bobby Fish. That's good. Field of Honor. Looks like when Elgin was champ. This was when AJ Styles was the IWGP champ in New Japan.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
So, this was a 4-way for the Ring of Honor title. It was Elgin as ROH champ versus Jay Briscoe versus AJ Styles and Adam Cole.
Mm. Yeah, I like their Field of Honor events.
Yeah, so I got the Field of Honor. I got Death Before Dishonor 13. If you remember that one. That was in 2015.
2015.
It was Jay Lethal against Roderick Strong. Dalton Castle with the boys versus Adam Cole.
With the boys.
Roppongi Vice versus the Briscoes. The Addiction versus Red Dragon versus War Machine versus the Kingdom. So that's pretty cool. And then the last one I got was Final Battle from 2015. That, if you remember, is Jay Lethal versus AJ Styles for the title.
Oh yeah, definitely. I own that one. That was one of the first DVDs I picked up. I saw that live on pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it was damn good.
Yeah, Final Battle 15. That's some good stuff.
How much did you get that one for?
Oh, like $3.
Dude, that's a fucking sweet ass deal. I think I paid like $25 for it when it was new. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, those ROH DVD sales are quite something. The only ones I paid more than $5 for was the compilations one, year 5 and 6. I paid more for my WXW DVDs.
Oh man.
Because I have to get them region free. You know?
So they cost more if you order them like that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, if I don't get them region free, I'd have to get the European region code for them to work. So,